What is up, guys? How are we doing? Welcome to How Reroll, the first actual official live broadcast.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Alrighty, so here we have with us a collection of brave adventurers that are going to take on the Mask of Intrigue campaign.
Ooh.
Lady Orange, thank you for the follow. Okay, so while we are here, let's introduce ourselves. Some of you guys already know me, but if you don't, my name is Gorbad. I will be the Dungeon Master today. Passing it over to our would-be friend, Shagget. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Would be. What's that imply? What's
We're
going on here?
not really friends with you.
Yeah, I'm just
what
like
it comes
I
down
hacked. I hacked this, and I'm just here. Hi, my name is Shagget. I play Radovan Rainier, a cleric for How We Roll. Towering, badass guy, I guess you can say. At least that's what I like to think.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
You'd like to think that.
I like to think that. Yeah.
It works. It works.
Guys, well, other introductions.
And below him, we have Bane, who is playing.
I play Racia. She is a half-elf rogue. And she is, let me see, she has an addiction to all things shiny. And kind of like me. And she's very, very mysterious. She's usually always cloaked, hiding in her hood behind something or someone.
Cool.
Okay, and we have Jane Ivana, who is playing.
I am playing. I'm Jane, and I'm playing a full-on elf. Her name's Kieliana, and she's a sorceress. And she has a animal familiar named Cal. Cal's a cat. And Kia is a little bit snarky and sarcastic, but ultimately is trying to be the good guy. So we'll see how it goes.
Alrighty, guys. So there's your introductions. So we're going to set the scene for you guys. Our would-be adventurers do not know each other yet. They have never met before. None of them have ever laid eyes on each other. At the start of this campaign, you're going to see our heroes make their first introductions to each other and find out exactly what is going on. So, here we are, guys. So you awaken to the sunlit gleam through a window into your ill-prepared eyes. You feel groggy, like you may have had too much to drink the night before, but you know that this was not the case. Your muscles feel warm, as if you have exerted yourself way too much the day before, but again, you know that this was not the cause. You glance around the room that you are in. It's a simple room, with but a single window, a bed, which you awoke upon, and a small, simple table and chair that is against the far wall. There is a two-layered shelf up against the far corner, of which nothing much but a candle rests. You have no idea where you are or how you got here. You rise up from your bed, checking your belongings. All of them seem to be present. Just then you notice how sore your left forearm feels. You examine it for the injury, but instead of a suspected wound, you find an elaborate blue and purple marking. You wet your fingers and rub at the mark, but it seems to be woven into the skin itself, refusing to come clean, much like a tattoo. You remember back to the last thing you remember. Ah, yes, the incident where you remember falling unconscious. You head out the door and down the stairs. It leads into the common room of a tavern or inn. You warily glance around the room and make your way to an empty table to try to take stock of your situation. Glancing around, you see but 7 other patrons in the inn, the bartender, and his serving wench. Where are you? How did you get here? Where did this mark come from? All these questions are flowing through your mind. Okay, guys, if you look, you'll see that each of you has been strategically placed somewhere in our tavern. Welcome to the Old Crow. It is down to you guys. What do you want to do?
Wow.
Oh. Well, it looks like I'm nicely seated in the corner, so I'm just going to survey the room and let my little half-elven ears listen.
Okay, there's the general chit chat of an average tavern. Very low murmured talking. Nothing seems to be too excitable. There's a couple of twins sitting at a table very close to you, rather commonly dressed. They look like they're probably in their mid to late 20s. There's a young fellow perched up at the bar, holding a mug, looking out, just kind of minding his own business. There's a gnarly looking fellow over to the corner by the round table next to the bar. He has red hair. He has very tan skin. He's a little older than everybody else in here, and looks like that he is definitely some kind of tradesman. We have a fairly young-looking serving wench holding a board with a different array of fare on it, and our barman. Other than that, the most interesting individual is a rather flamboyantly dressed young lass who is standing up at the bar, almost kind of perching against it, guzzling back ale as if there was no tomorrow. And then obviously you guys can see each other, so.
I am, looks like in the left corner there, in the green. Obviously, I haven't really processed much of it. I'm mostly looking down at my own forearm and looking at this really strange tattoo that's now on my arm, trying to decipher if I recognize any symbol on it at all, or if it's all just completely foreign to me.
Okay, guys, for those of you watching, that is the tattoo that they have on their arm, something very similar to that. And for the players, you should be able to see it as well now. As you can see, it is very intricate. Has 8 points, 6 of which are basically almost like compass directions, and 2 of them seem to be almost like scorpion-like tails, and there is some strange eye in the center of it. As you kind of look at the tattoo, sometimes, just for a second, you almost think that the eye possibly moved or blinked. And it's one of those things that you kind of look at it and like, no, that didn't just happen.
Well, I am going to immediately get up and go to the bar. What time of day is it, actually?
Well, all you know is that the sun was shining through the window earlier this morning when you woke up, or earlier when you woke up, so it's still clearly daytime at some point.
Okay, well, that doesn't actually make a difference. I'm going to order a drink and then kindly ask the bartender where the hell I am.
Alrighty. Well, lad, what can I get you?
Whiskey, please.
Little early in the morning for that, but hey, each to their own. My job is just to appease. And he kind of reaches behind him, pulls off a bottle, and holds up a glass and begins to pour, like looking at you knowingly, like, say when. Glug, 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 glug. He kind of pulls the bottle back as he looks at the glass that was intended probably for wine or mead that is now almost over brimming with whiskey. Kind of, well, there you go.
Thank you.
That'll be 5 copper, please.
Tell me where I am first, please.
Oh, you are in the Old Crow Tavern.
Never heard of it.
Oh, well, that's where you are. In the village of Crowbluff.
I would like to do a knowledge check.
Okay.
Geography. Because I want to know if that name is familiar to me at all.
Okay, so you're going to make like a local knowledge check?
Yeah, a local knowledge check. Right.
All right, go right ahead.
Okay.
Okay, 14. You don't know much about Crow Bluff. You do recall the name of the village, but by last reckoning, it was some 200 miles away from where you were.
Okay.
So, since you last recall, you have done some serious traveling, none of which you remember.
I'm gonna ask the bartender how I got the room I woke up in.
Well,
Was it me, basically?
well, some of you, he goes, some friends of yours brought you and the two lasses over there in the corner brought you all in here about 3 days ago, I suppose. Carried you in, legless you were, drunk as skunks. They said apparently you'd been to some reunion party or something or other, and you were from out of town, and they were putting you up here in the room, and they paid for 3 rooms, one for each of you, for an entire week, in fact. Last time we saw them is, well, been about 3 days since you've risen from your beds. I figured that must have been some hell of a hangover.
I don't actually have any friends, you know? I'm not that kind of person.
Huh.
And I look at... Oh, sorry.
Unsociable, are we? Maybe it's the drinking habit that you have here. I noticed that, you went to sleep drunk as a skunk, you woke up, and it looks like you're heading right back to it, lad. Not that I mind. Very good for business.
I turn on my stool, which I sit down on, and look at the 2 women who came with me, apparently, and just think while I take some swigs of my whiskey.
Alrighty.
That's what I'm doing.
Was the barman talking loud enough for Kia and I to hear?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Excellent.
It's not that big a tavern, and the wooden walls kind of hold the sound in really well, so it kind of echoes around. It's not hard for you to figure out what was said at all.
Mm-hmm.
The chap that was doing the talking to the barman for you 2 ladies, he's wearing scale armor. He definitely looks like some type of militant, but he is, around his neck is a holy symbol marking him as a priest of St. Cuthbert. If you have a knowledge skill, religion, and would like to make a roll on it, I can give you more information. If not, all you really know is that St. Cuthbert represents law and order predominantly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I would like to know more about this religion and do a knowledge check, as well as I'm pretty much still staring at my tattoo on my arm, wondering if there's any kind of religious symbol in it as well.
All right. If you have knowledge religion, go ahead and make your check.
Okay.
Meanwhile, can I flag down the bar wench and get some food? I'm hungry.
Absolutely. All right. You gain her attention. She heads over to you. Comes to the
Got
corner.
12.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, all you really know about St. Cuthbert is just that, as I said, it does represent law and order. Their priests do tend to be somewhat on the front lines of any kind of conflict. And they're not known for their subtleties when it comes to dealing with issues. So let's go ahead and go back to Racia. The serving wench basically walks over to you. She has a very simple plate with bread, cheese, some cold sliced meat. Looks over to you and she says, don't really have a lot of choice really here this morning, my dear, but if you would like to have a selection from one of these, I can certainly make sure that I bring you an ample portion.
That would be lovely. Thank you so much.
She says, what can I get you? Meat, cheese,
I'll take some
bread?
cheese and bread, please.
Alrighty. She kind of pulls a plate out from underneath the small pile of plates that she has, sits it down in front of you, like using her hands, breaks the loaf of bread in half, puts half of it on the plate, then kind of does the same with the cheese, puts it down, and then almost as an afterthought, she kind of holds the plate with one hand and brushes her own fingers off to clean her hands from the bread and the cheese, and then she kind of smiles at you and says, if you need anything else, don't hesitate to let me know. And then she kind of wanders back. At this point, the flamboyant young lass that is sitting up by the bar turns around. She kind of stumbles almost back into the bar itself. One of the things that is very obvious is, even though it is fairly early, she is very drunk. Obviously had an awful lot to drink. She kind of, almost as an afterthought, stuffs her hand into her pocket and scatters a handful of gold coins, like flamboyantly across the bar. Half of them bounce from the bar itself, drop onto the floor, bounce off of the stools, and the barman scrabbles to pick up the coins. Looking around the room, kind of in a almost like a glazed look, she says, raising a glass, "A drink for all, a toast to a short but brightly shone story of a life." And then she downs it in one. The barman, now he's gathered up all the coins, starts filling cups of ale and like hushing the waitress to come to him and gather them up so that he can go out and deliver them to all the patrons around the inn. So one by one, she kind of comes along and sits a large glass in front of you, full of ale. Once again, the lass gets another full glass and raises her arm as high as she possibly can. As she does so this time, the loose sleeves of her white blouse slide down, revealing her left forearm. You notice that on her forearm is the exact same mark that you three bear. It doesn't seem to pay, nobody else really seems to pay any attention to it, but you guys do notice that each of you, your eyes kind of light up. So Radovan, you notice that the two girls suddenly start paying attention to it. Racia, you notice that the girl in the corner and the priest suddenly seem to look almost startled. And Kia, the same for you. You notice that the girl in the corner and the priest also seem to have caught, like this has caught their attention, whereas nobody else in the inn seems to bat an eyelid.
Well, I don't immediately get up. I'm eyeing the young man, which is Radovan. And I heard what was said earlier, when he was talking to the barkeep. And I don't immediately go over there because I don't fully trust him or humans very much right now. But when I see the half elf in the corner perk up when she sees the tattoo, I decide that I'm gonna go over there to see if she knows anything and what she's doing here. Over to where she's sitting. So I'm gonna walk over there and sit down in front of her.
Okay, so Racia, you notice that the girl in the flamboyant green robes is kind of sauntering across the bar towards you.
I'm gonna look up and I'm gonna say, "Elf."
Did you see that? I say to her.
Of course I saw it.
So you know what I'm talking about then.
Maybe.
I squint my eyes. The tattoo.
I did.
You show me mine, I'll show you yours.
Said that wrong.
Girl on girl action in the corner.
I know. I was like, should I correct myself? No. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I'm at the wrong table.
Suddenly,
Yeah.
the girl at the bar staggers forward, clutching her arm. As she does so, a strange emanating blue glow seems to be spilling out from underneath her hand where she's gripping her arm so tightly. A few seconds later, kind of spider-like blue glowing veins seem to kind of come up her neck and across her face, down her other arm, and start to cover every inch of bare skin that you can see. She drops to her knees and throws her arms out, screaming in absolute agony. Then suddenly, all of her blue veins explode, scattering like this blue glowing liquid across the tavern. It's hideous and disgusting. It hits the floor, hits the bar, as close as Radovan is, he's now wearing some of it on him. However, after a few seconds, the glowing blue liquid fades to be nothing more than like a sanguine red, much like what you would have expected if it was just blood. At that point, she kind of falls flat on her back and is now laying immobile on the floor.
I'm obviously very stunned at these turn of events. Considering she was drunk previously, the first thing I do is set down my whiskey and not drink any more of it. I also tell the bartender, put that on her tab. Because...
The bartender is just like in utter shock. At this point, suddenly chairs start sliding, people start moving, the two twins flee one by one out the door. The young man gets up, trips over one of the bar stools in his attempt to avoid the blood, and runs out the door. The barman kind of just moves and ducks behind. The wench dives behind the bar. The cat comes flying across and snuggles up as close to its master as it can. The only people left in the bar are the gnarly-looking fellow that looks like some kind of tradesman, the innkeeper, and the wench.
Did the tradesman even flinch, or is he just kind of
he kind of stood up and almost in a defensive posture kind of pulled out what looks like a blacksmith's hammer and a piece of iron into his hands. Well, I never, says the blacksmith.
I wanted to immediately say to Kia, maybe I won't show you.
I've seen a lot in my near 50 years, but I've never seen a sight like that, says the blacksmith, as he kind of strokes his beard.
I didn't really pay attention to what Raisa just said because I immediately get up and go stand over the body because it was so sudden and it freaked me out so much. I have to get a closer look to see what it all looks like.
It looks disgusting. All of her veins are basically burst open. There's no sign of any blue anymore. Everything is just red. It's just blood everywhere. There's so much blood that you can't, if the tattoo remains, you'd have to clean the arm off to be able to see. Right, the barman now is running towards the door. He turns and says to all of you, if you'd kindly go elsewhere, please. I'm locking up and I'm off to fetch the watch. Juggernaut, thanks for the follow.
Okay.
I, too, go to observe the body. Not really for a cause of death, because it's kind of obvious, but I do want to investigate and search for any potential clues that the drunk lass had on her person.
I'm checking the floor for any drop gold coins.
Okay, well, no one picked up the coins that fell this side, so there are, in fact, 4 to be had. So, some of them are a little kind of red and a little bloody, but,
Cool.
Gold is gold. It spends just the same way, right?
Nice.
Okay, so Radovan, you're going to examine the girl.
Yes. Going to search her.
Okay. Basically, she was wearing, leather breeches, a white blouse. She's got, a leather waistcoat over top of that. And she's got 2 blue leather bracers on her arms and kind of thigh-high blue leather boots. Doesn't appear to have much on her apart from that.
No pockets or anything?
There were pockets, but one of those is kind of hanging inside out where she stuffed her hand in and pulled every coin that she had and just hurled it on the bar. It's almost like she half expected something to happen. The way that she was kind of, toasting her life, the way that she was giving up all of her last possessions to the room, it's kind of like she kind of knew something was fixing to happen.
I'd like to ask the barmaid, or the bar wench, if the lass that is laying on the floor had a room in the inn.
She says, You'll have to excuse me. I'm on a tether.
It's a simple question. Did she have a room
I
here?
believe so. I believe she came in last night, but I'm not sure what room she had. She kind of glances around the room, still looking clearly lost. Boulders! And she points at the innkeeper who is still standing, holding the door open, like, "Are y'all gonna leave now?" She says, "What room did she have?" Second on the left, I believe.
I'm gonna turn and head that direction.
Okay, so you're gonna head up the stairs. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And-
Racia goes up the stairs. What are you two guys doing?
I am noticing that this gentleman has also not completely run out of the inn
Thank you
or
for the
tavern, and he's standing on the other side of the body. And I look him from head to toe, and he's covered in a little bit of the blood. And I say to him, "You're not scared?"
I look at Kia, not knowing who she is, but seeing right away that she's an elf, and I immediately just roll my eyes and say, "Not at all." With a little bit of disgust, like a dismissiveness to it.
Right, the blacksmith has now moved over, and he's kind of crouched down, looking at the corpse. He kind of reaches out with the metal rod that he had, which looks like at some point it could be used to craft into something, and he gives her a subtle poke. Nothing hard, just kind of like a curiosity poke. And he goes, "She's dead then?"
Way
I
to
look
state the
right
odds.
at him like, that's obvious.
I follow Kia's sentiments and just kind of shove him back slightly because he's messing with the scene that we're investigating, being unhelpful at best,
Thank you for the follow. Okay, well, when the barman realizes that you guys have no intentions of leaving, he just kind of shuts and locks the door, but remains on the inside. Clearly, he wants to go and fetch the watch, but he's less concerned about doing that than leaving you guys here unsupervised in his inn. So he kind of slowly walks back to behind the bar, pours himself a stiff drink, and downs it.
I consider for a moment whether I want to open up and ask this man about what he was talking to the barkeep about, and I decide that I'm going to do it. So I look up at Radovan and I say, "So you don't remember checking in either, do you?"
I again look at Kia and decide that, I'm in this, I might as well be a little bit cooperative, despite the fact that she's clearly an elf and I'm not a fan. So I say, yes, I woke up this morning and it would seem we are in a similar situation. My name is Radovan Rainier. Nice to meet you. And I hold out a hand to shake. Over the corpse, might I add, because we're, catting, she's kind of between us.
Full of respect.
Yeah, whatever. It's dead last on the floor.
I look down at his hand for a second, and instead of taking it, I do a slight bow and I say, "I'm Kia Liana. This is Cal," and I kind of tilt my head over to my cat. My cat does a little meow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, at the top of the stairs, okay, so Raisa, you have gone investigating the room.
Yeah.
So you head up to the top of the stairs. The second door on the left was the room that he indicated belongs to this other person.
Yes, I would like to search the room.
Alrighty. Well, the door is not locked, so you don't have any problem getting inside. It looks remarkably similar to the room that you had, except it's facing in the opposite direction. Glancing around the room, initially you can see nothing of obvious worth. But if you would like to search the room, you are more than able or welcome to. Alrighty. Upon examining the room itself, you do a pretty thorough search under the bed, behind the table, there seems to be absolutely nothing. This girl obviously came here with next to no belongings other than what she was wearing. And whatever belongings she does have is probably on her person downstairs.
Blown up.
Blown to smithereens!
Alrighty. Well, I guess with the satisfaction that there's nothing there, I will head back downstairs to join the elf and the weird human.
Alrighty.
Weird human.
Thanks.
Alrighty.
So basically, here you are, a gnarly party of individuals, all looking down at the bloody, sanguinated corpse of some girl in her mid-20s that has been eviscerated by some kind of bizarre magic, in theory. The blacksmith is still standing there, looking rather morbidly at her. And then, almost like it's no big deal, he says, "Well, I've got a forge to run. I'll see you later." And then he looks over to the barkeep and says, "Balders, the door." "Oh, right away." The innkeeper goes over, opens the door. The blacksmith turns. As he leaves, he kind of looks back and he still kind of shakes his head and goes, "Huh. Things you see these days," and wanders out the door. Still doesn't seem to be overly distressed by the whole incident. So it's just leaving you guys now.
I look at the half-elf, and since I already introduced myself to a human of all races, I decide might as well do half-elf. So I bow a little bit and say, "I'm Kia. What's your name?"
My name's Raisa, and I don't really meet your eyes.
Okay.
She's a shifty-looking sort. won't hold your eye contact.
Nope.
Alrighty.
And I glance down to my forearm, and then look at them too, and I say, "On the count of 3."
Okay.
Considering my hand was not shaken, I'm not willing to go along with this, like, on 3, let's show our tattoos that we mysteriously got. So I shrug and say, yes, I think we all have them. Let's move on.
And I'm just gonna kind of add to that, saying, considering what happened to the last person who revealed their tattoo, I'd rather keep mine hidden.
I grumble and fine. Okay.
But
Well,
at least you've
guys
all
have
kind
them.
of you've all kind of confirmed to each other that you're carrying these things. Okay, so the bar wench, she is now kind of taken off her apron. She's dried her eyes, and she is now heading towards the door. Kind of still very, very, very distressed, very upset about the whole disgusting incident. Kind of looking back at you, looking back at the corpse, looking back at you, and then shaking her head and, like, running out the door. Leaving just you guys and the barman, who clearly would rather you. It's obvious the way he's fidgeting and kind of keeps looking at the door and says, yeah, so, shouldn't we call the watch? Shouldn't you be leaving now? I don't know that you should be poking around with that."
I turn to the bartender, and I take a seat right back where I was previously, where my drink was still, and I ponder drinking it again, but then I'm looking back over my shoulder like, well, there's a dead lass who's clearly drunk. So, I'm still considering this, but I then say to the bartender or the innkeeper, with all those who fled, you would think that they would be here already. Like, why aren't they here, basically?
These are simple folk. I doubt that most of them had the nerve or the desire to go to the watch. They probably all just got as far away as they could or went home, to be honest. But don't worry, my young lass, Kathy, she's gone to fetch the watchman. He'll be here shortly.
Well, then I think they'll want to talk to us since we were here and we witnessed the event. And then I take a tiny sip of my whiskey.
Alrighty. um, do you guys? I mean, are you done with the examining the body or anything like that, or are you just going to kind of wait it out until the watchman gets here?
I think because I wasn't there for the examination, I would like to take a look.
Alrighty. So, are you like gonna get your hands dirty and like root through the corpse and the clothes and get covered in blood, or are you gonna avoid
I might get
that?
my boots dirty because I'll kick her, or like I'll kind of nudge her with my boots.
Okay, but you're not gonna like rummage through her clothing and.
I might like pick up and kind of look. If I see evidence of anything shiny and or interesting, then that would probably entice me.
Right.
But for now, we'll just lift and nudge and
Okay.
shuffle and.
All right. Well, go ahead and make a search check if you wish. Alrighty.
We'll find all the things.
With your keen
Nice.
elven, I would say eyes, but it's more like your keen elven fingertips. You kind of root around. The only thing you do find is there is like a dagger tucked down in her boot, which they seem to miss before, but it's like pushed way down in there, like there's some kind of woven in scabbard down inside. Sort of thing that you might have, which might possibly be why you were more inclined to dig it out. It's a very well balanced dagger, and it's clearly designed to be thrown. Beyond that, though, she is as she seems. Absolutely nothing of any additional value except the gold coins that you've already picked up.
And my nice new shiny dagger.
There you go.
Yes, I'd like to acquire said dagger if possible.
Alrighty, yep. So you take the throwing dagger. A couple of minutes later, the door bursts open, and in comes the not quite impressive-looking watchman. He's a fellow probably in his late 30s. He's probably eaten way too many pies in his lifetime to be considered a healthy member of the police hood. And it's pretty clear to you that this guy is more like the nominated go-to man than any actual official. He kind of walks in, and instead of having that curious, look, he goes, bloody hell! And heaves all over the floor.
I kind of look at him in disgust and turn my back to him because I'm not one for throw up or barf, and I walk towards Radovan and just sit next to him at the bar stool and look away.
I take another drink of my whiskey, slide the ale that the lass had bought for all of us, the rounds, and put it in front of Kia. And, clearly not impressed with this watchman who just came in. I am prepared to... I'm considering leaving, because if this tattoo thing is going to kill me, well, it might as well kill me. I mean... it's not a resignation so much as, acknowledgement of what could happen. So, yeah, so I just take another drink of my whiskey and sigh, basically.
All right.
I'm having very mixed feelings right now.
The watchman kind of wipes yesterday's or this morning's breakfast away from his face, sits down in a chair, almost to kind of recompose himself, and kind of is staring rather confusedly at the sanguine mess that is on the floor that once was the girl. Then, almost as an afterthought, realizing why he's here, he says, "So, what happened then?"
I look down and
He's very
I'm not
pale
going to
looking
answer.
as well.
Figured Radovan would answer for me.
Yeah, I turn and answer and basically say, the drunk chick blew up, basically. I mean, I don't mention my own tattoo or our
You have
connection.
a way with words.
The drunk lass blew up, sir.
Alrighty.
That's what I say.
It blew up? What do you mean, blew up? Like, exploded?
Yeah.
Pretty much. I point at the lass and say, see for yourself. Like,
How? How did that happen? And who are you people anyway? I've not seen you before.
Travelers.
She says, oh, I see.
nod.
So, strange travelers show up and people start blowing up. Is that it? He said, I mean, what am I supposed to? He goes, what am I supposed to make of this? He said, look, I get paid 2 copper a week to do this job. He said, the most I have to deal with is the odd chickling rustler or break up at the brothers if they get too drunk and start fighting. He said, I'm not equipped to deal with people that explode.
Say, well, you should become a traveler.
He kind of looks at the barman and he says, I suppose we should clean this up.
We? What was that? Excuse me?
He says, well, no, not you. He said, I'll go get help. I'll be right back. Don't go away, I guess. And he kind of wanders back out the door. Clearly way more bewildered and more disturbed by all of this than you guys are. So the watch doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot here.
I'm gonna just look at my cohorts here and say, I would like to speak with you guys, and I'm gonna kind of like look at the barman in private.
Don't mind me. I've got some got some cleaning to do. And he kind of wanders away from the bar.
I
Although
look at
you do
I look
kind of
at
notice he's
Risa
kind
and
of looking
say,
backwards at you.
sure, and let's get out of here, because
I agree.
these guys are not going to be useful, and it seems we're in this just us. So I say we leave.
I agree as well.
Yeah.
I'm ready to leave this. It's starting to smell a little bit.
It does have a
lot.
definitive irony smell in the air now. Yes, that's for sure.
Yeah, let's get the hell out of here. That's what I say.
All right, so you guys are heading out of the barn, or out of the bar. Okay. All right. Once you leave, you are now inside or outside the tavern, and here you are at the very rudimentary village of Crow Bluff. I've marked the tavern for you because you know what that building is. A large number of people are kind of gathered around the 2 trees directly across from the bar and discussing, obviously, what happened. There's a definitive murmur as they all look at each other, and then when you guys come out, they all kind of point at you and start whispering.
Where should we go? I whisper to Risa.
Away from people, I think.
What is immediately to our east, if that is to our right? From where we exit, down the road, that's off screen?
That's basically leading kind of away from the village and out across a lot of open fields.
Okay.
Looks like, it looks like it goes kind of miles off into the distance. You clearly can see no other dwellings or buildings in that direction.
And what is that tiny little building in front of the tavern?
Show me. If you point at it and click on it, it'll highlight it for me. Which one are you talking about? Okay. That looks like a very rudimentary shack dwelling. This village is very poor. The tavern itself is fairly well constructed. There's a building across the street that isn't too terribly bad, but what you can see, most of the buildings are little more than just makeshift thrown together wooden shacks. They're fairly large, but I mean, there's no architecture at work here.
Gotcha. Alright. So
I think we need to discuss. I'm just basically going to say we need to go somewhere. I don't remember how I got here. I'm assuming you guys are probably in the same boat. We need to find out what has happened to us.
The people are to our south, so I think we should go around the tavern on the north side, where I'm hoping it's empty, so we can discuss this, because I agree with you, Risa.
Okay, so you guys want to kind of go up around past the fields and kind of into the open area behind the tavern for some seclusion. Alrighty. Not a problem. Yeah, I mean, there's nobody back there. You know, it's all fairly open. As I said, there's crops and fields to your left, but beyond that, everyone seems to be preoccupied with what went on. I mean, understand for a small village, an exploding traveler is quite a drastic thing. So their attention is more or less, for at least for right now, away from you guys.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys want to have a discussion about said incidences?
Yes.
Okay. Go right ahead.
So I'm gonna kind of start with what I said before and say, so yeah, do you guys remember anything? I just woke up and was here.
I shake my head and what I do remember is I was dealing with a client. It feels like a long time ago now, but and then I was here. That's all I really remember.
The last thing I remember was helping an old man and his daughter on the road, and then I just lost everything. I mean, my memory went blank, and I don't know what happened, and then I woke up in bed. That's what I remember.
I was jumped as I was walking home from the local pub by two men. And usually it's pretty difficult to sneak up on me. So they must have been following me for a while is the only thing I can come up with.
It was an old man. It must have been the old man who got me. I mean, I was helping him and he must have turned on me or something. I'm a little fuzzy on the details though.
How could an old man jump you if you were helping him cross the street?
No, he was being attacked by some less than savory folk, and I went to their aid, basically. It's unfortunately in my nature to help people, even though I might not want to.
So could it have been those guys that were attacking that old man?
I'm pretty sure we dealt with them. You mean if they're the same that attacked Risa?
Do you think they have anything to do with you blacking out?
I don't know. I'm too fuzzy on the details. All I know is that this is. Look at this place. I mean, come on.
What town were you in the last time you remember? How far apart were we all from each other?
Basically, you were all within about 50 to 60 miles of each other, but not close. I mean, you were on the other sides of the world by any means, but, you know, it wasn't like you were all in the same area, so you were like, just happened to all be randomly picked from the town square or something like that. And also, if you think back to your individual circumstances, every one of you had to have been kind of pre-set up. Like, the incidences that happened were all too strategically engineered for it to have been coincidental. They, you know, every one of you was set up in a way to get you. You were targeted. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I dropped my shield and my morning star and, you know, pushed back my armaments to show the tattoo, saying, and I asked, do you recognize any of these symbols, guys? And I'm looking more towards Kia, who's more magically inclined, so I hope that she might, you know, have a hint that I didn't garner or gather.
I look down and I've obviously been staring at this for a long time, but I would love to see if it has anything to do with arcane magic or religion or nature, just anything. So I'd like to check that out.
Okay, so you're using like knowledge arcane, or are you actually resorting to like your detect magical spell?
First, I'm gonna use religion, knowledge religion.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay. All right.
None of the marks seem to bear anything of any religion that you recall. There's no like direct correlation with any known religion for you.
Okay. Can I keep checking? Is there
Yeah, I mean,
elements?
if you want to know, if you're looking also to see if you think there's anything arcane about it, by all means, make an arcane
Right,
check
I'd
as well.
like to. Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Alrighty.
All right.
The it's not like there's any specific thing you can tell about it, but you get the distinct feeling that there is something arcane about it just by the fact that you're familiar with types of magic like glamours that can
Okay.
react and do things and change, and you're more in tune to realize like this thing sometimes winks at you or blinks at you, even though it never does it when you're looking directly at it, but like out of the corner of your eye, sometimes you catch it. You're more familiar to know that that is possibly some kind of magical incantation or something that's been done there.
Okay. So I look up at Radovan and say, well, some kind of has some bearing on arcane magic and certainly is magical of some sort.
So you
That's all I can really get from it.
so you probably wouldn't recommend I burn it off or take a knife to it to try to I'm a cleric. I could probably heal my wounds, but
Cleric, huh?
would you recommend I do that? You just go to a fit, take
No.
go to the forge or something in this town and with the brand
Well,
it, you know.
you know there is
Did
a
you
blacksmith.
see?
Well, it looks
Did you
like
see what happened to that lady?
yes, I did.
Okay.
Regrettably so.
Do you want to do that? Go, by all means, go for it. But you're
Well,
a little bit crazy.
it looks like we're gonna die by it anyway. So I would rather do something than nothing, you know?
Why don't we speak with the villagers and see if any of them are familiar with the people who dropped us off, our supposed friends? Because the bartender said that our rooms had been paid for a week. Whoever dropped us off just dropped us off and left us. Why would they do that? If they've done this to us, they've done it for a reason.
I sigh
I'm
and
in agreement.
I sigh and say I really just don't want to stay in this town any longer than I have to. But that is the logical thing to do. So I guess that's what we'll have to do. Do some investigation.
And if you think about it, maybe we should visit the blacksmith because he's the only one to seem to have a level head about everything and probably isn't going to try and crucify us.
Yeah, did you see how calm he was when she exploded? That's not common at all. So
All right, we're going
That
to
was
take a very quick break here. So let's get back to the game. Okay, so you guys decided that you wanted to head to the blacksmith. Well, the ringing of steel as iron hits steel can be heard coming from the far side of the town. There's smoke billowing up from this kind of intricate-looking lean-to over here. So let me go back to this map. And as you can see, this area right here, that is where your blacksmith is.
okay.
All right. Well, we're all gonna go together, guys.
Absolutely. I'm going to stay as close to any building or tree or hiding or behind Shagget. I
Well,
mean Radovan,
Radovan.
rather. Yes.
Well,
Total-
I'm
Total
walking.
paranoid.
I'm beelining it right there. I don't care about obstructions or shadows or anything like that. You know.
Alrighty, so
Right
you
through
all
the building.
basically head
Just follow like a
straight
normal
over there.
elf.
All right. As you kind of cross the street, you notice that they're actually carrying the girl's dead body out of the inn at this point.
Hmm.
There you are.
Not jealous of them.
Okay. Yeah, they seem now to be preoccupied with actually cleaning the tavern. With the lack of any real magistrate here or anything like that, what are they going to do? I mean, you know, there's no one to punish for the crime. No one physically did
Right.
anything. They're just trying to cope with the concept that a person just eviscerated right there inside their own tavern. It's like almost spontaneous human combustion, but with a big blue glow. Okay, so you make your way over to the lean-to that is the blacksmith. It's little more than 4 posts, like a beaten roof, a large wooden rack, which has got various tools and pieces of iron. There's a couple of cart wheels and wagon wheels over to the side. There's some long iron kind of beams coming out of the wood, which have got horseshoes hooked over them. And the guy that you saw earlier in the inn is standing over the forge, pumping with one hand on the bellows, and then after a few pumps, grabs hold of his tongs and is beating the crap out of what looks like a long piece of steel. Hard at work. He's like, he hasn't even paid any attention to the fact that you guys have walked up.
I noticed that neither of my newfound partners are the type to go up to the door and get the guy's attention. So
Nope.
that's what I do. I go up and I shout, excuse me, as loud as I can without deafening you guys.
He kind of flips the steel and hits it a few more times and then thrusts it into the water next to him. A large bellow of steam kind of comes up and smoke. Then he sits it on the side, kind of wipes his hands off, and walks over and he says, "Oh, hello again."
I
Hey.
say,
He points at Shagget and says, "You've got red on you."
I say, you just saw a girl explode and you're working. You just went straight back to working. That's incredible.
I'm immediately conscious of the blood, the red on me. So I'm a little distracted by his remark. As casual and calm as he is, I'm like wiping myself down, even though it's to no real effect.
Yeah, the blood is dried on you by now.
Yeah. Okay.
So he says, "Well, I wasn't always a blacksmith. Yes, in fact, for several years, I did a little bit of traveling myself. Seen some pretty strange stuff. Nothing quite as odd as that, but, has to be a first time for everything. Didn't concern me, really."
Hmm.
Do you frequent the inn often, sir?
Every day. Look around, madam. Can you honestly tell me of anything else of interest to do around here?
True. What I mean is, I don't recall arriving here in this town. The barkeep said that 2 friends brought me, but I was traveling alone.
Let's see. From my recollection, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 friends, and they brought the 3 of you together.
Really?
8.
What did they look
friends.
Well, there was 2 kind of rough, burly-looking fellows were dragging both each of you, so 2 men to each one of you, basically dragging you in. And then there were these 2 sultry-looking, robed individuals. Didn't like the look of them much. Seemed to give Kathy the frights, that's for sure. She wasn't at all impressed by their presence.
And this happens frequently in a crap hole like this?
Oh, not at all. But again, none of my business.
Crap hole.
None of my business at all.
I'd say something worse if I had the opportunity.
They said something about you had recently been, which I did find this a bit strange, because if there had been any kind of shindigs going on here in this town, I'd have known about it. But they said that you were here at some kind of gathering, you'd had way too much to drink, and you were out of towners, and that they were going to put you up here for the night, and you were going to sleep it off and leave. And then they left.
I was at no shindig.
Well, just telling you what they said, that's all. He said, "So, you ever seen anything like that before then? Women, blowing up, covered in blue?"
No.
Can't say I have. It's very rare, if at all.
I hope it wasn't some kind of disease. I hope it wasn't contagious.
I lean in close to the blacksmith at this remark. And I make it a point to breathe on him as I say, "Is there anyone in this town worth talking to about us and our situation?"
Kiss.
What is your situation? You're strangers from out of town that had too much to drink.
Well, if we have a disease or something, you'd want us to kind of move along, right?
At this point, it suddenly dawns on him that you're covered in this blood. And you're remarkably close to him.
Yep.
And almost as an afterthought, he like very quickly takes 2 huge steps backwards and then moves to the side, so the forge is now between you and him. He says, actually, yeah, if you did have any kind of malady, the only person here in town that might be able to help you out would be Rudigan.
Rudigan.
And he kind of points like across the down the street back towards the center of town, and says, "You see that building over there?" And if you look at your map, you'll basically see what he's pointing at.
Yes.
He says, "That's where old Rudigan lives." He said he's might know something about it. If anybody does, he's old as the hills, seen a lot. Mostly these days, though, he tends to sick animals and prepares tonics for people that have the gout and stuff like that. I think in his youth,
away.
he was supposed to be some kind of, I don't know, wanderer or whatever. But if anyone knows anything, he might. Oh, I will tell you, he is a little hard of hearing, though. So you'll have to speak up. And he's sometimes a little odd.
Odd how?
Well, his mind wanders. He's old. Old as the hills.
Mm-hmm.
But if anybody here knows anything about strange blue lines going up your face, whatever disease that might be, he would be the one.
Okay.
Well, if you don't mind, I've got steel to beat, and you've got other places to be than here.
Is that
Enjoy your steel beating.
No offense, but if you're going to talk to people and expect them to be cordial, you might want to clean yourself up. Because it's not a pretty sight, really, walking up to a stranger covered in blood. A little off-putting. Especially to some of these folk around here.
So where would you suggest I clean myself up?
He kind of glances around and then shrugs his shoulder and says, "You can use the trough there, I suppose." And then he grabs a hand cloth and throws it to you.
The cloth hits the ground because I clearly was not expecting him to throw a cloth at me, and I, with some difficulty, bend over and pick it up because of all the armor I'm wearing.
You're all clunky.
Yeah, I'm very clunky, you know.
Alrighty.
I'm also not at all happy with this guy, and I give him that withering kind of look, like, you know, thank you for being unhelpful, even though he was kind of helpful, but.
Well, you know,
You
you're
don't
an
want to
asshole,
admit
so-
it. Yeah.
I don't want to admit it, right? So
Right.
I look at Kia and then glance around and notice that our favorite friend Rogue is missing. Where's Reza? I ask.
I look around and
She
glint
is
into the distance. I can see
gone.
way further than Radovan ever wishes.
Where were you going, incidentally, Racer?
I'm crouched in the shadows beside our new prospect's house.
Okay, so you've already made your way over there. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Right. The odds are then you guys are not going to see her. I mean, it is daylight, but
Oh,
with the
okay.
distance
Is
what
it
it
that
is,
far?
I mean, it's 60 or 70 feet, which if she was standing outside the door, you'd see her. But if she doesn't
Right.
want to be seen and you don't know that she's there, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Okay.
I'm
So I
definitely
motion,
hiding.
I motion Radovan over to that well so he can get the blood off of his armor and face and wherever it's at, so we can go meet this new person.
Alrighty.
Yeah, so I see the well and realize that's the most ideal place to go. So that's what I do. I go over there to clean myself up.
All right. So yeah, the water is extremely cold and brisk, but very refreshing, and does a good job of getting most of the bloodstains off.
Good enough.
Instead of it
Say
looking
too.
like blood,
I
it
shrug.
just looks like you spilt your lunch, you know. Instead of being a blood-soaking priest, you now look more like somebody that can't hit his mouth with his spoon.
We'll just say you're a clumsy human being. Let's just go.
Okay.
Typical human.
Racer, are you going to do anything, or are you just going to stay there and observe?
I'm listening and waiting for my friends to arrive.
Okay.
Okay.
So-
I follow behind Kia, giving her
Okay.
the same look I gave the blacksmith, not happy with
As you guys approach the house, you're not gonna really see me, and then all of a sudden I'm just gonna kind of be like, "Hey," and you're gonna see me. I'll just be like, "Hey."
She's gonna pop out from behind, like half underneath the cart.
Okay. I jump a little bit.
What a strange person.
Took you long enough.
Okay.
I had
well,
to
we
get
had
the
a
red
little-
off. Yeah.
A little mess to clean up.
Well, this building is in no better state than any of the others except for the inn that you've already seen. There is a cart, fairly old cart, sitting outside. There is a front porch, which is really not so much a porch, more a bunch of boards that are being held up by 2 posts, one of which is actually leaning over to the side, and the entire porch is kind of tilted and skewed slightly. It wouldn't take a whole lot to bring the front off of the building. It's pretty obvious.
Okay.
You can hear what sounds like coughing coming from inside, like a.
That's nasty.
Yeah. I was pretty ticked off by the comment that Radovan made earlier about how we never approach first, so I'm going to step up first this time and knock on the
Ooh.
door very
Okay.
loudly because I remember this guy doesn't hear too well.
Okay. You hear like footsteps, but more like step clunk, step clunk, step clunk.
Okay.
The door opens, and a guy wearing a very ill-fitting, long brown robe, it's very patchy, is standing there with one arm over a very rudimentary crutch, kind of looks at you, tilts his head to one side with a squint, and says, "What is it? Hey!"
Okay, sorry.
What do you want?
I'm
I-
just smiling as Kia's the one who, walked into this trap. So I'm just
I
standing
immediately
behind.
He's got like
look back
long
at
gray
Radovan.
hair. He's got like long gray hair, like gray stubble all over his face. Like at some point, every great once in a while, it looks like he has an attempt at shaving. But he's not a very well kempt man at all. And by the look of one of his legs, it's kind of hanging semi-limp, so there's a reason he has the crutch.
Okay. Well, I immediately look back at Radovan, really hoping he takes this one over.
This is my reaction, gesture for gesture.
Off you go, deal with your person.
I glance over at Raisa.
I'm kind of hidden in the shadows, just looking at you like, what? Let's go.
So I take a breath. Hello!
He
Oh,
says,
what's his name again? I forgot his name.
he's that important to you. He says, "Hello! Now, what do you want?
Can we talk to you, sir?
We are talking!
Oh,
Are you
okay.
sick? Do you need a tonic?"
Yes, and hoping he'll invite us inside.
Okay. He kind of grumbles something under his breath. Probably doesn't actually sound like any words, more just mumbles. And then kind of wanders in. Doesn't invite you, and he just walks into his own house. After a few seconds, he turns, kind of looks back, he says, "Well, come in then!"
I just
Oh.
walk in. This guy just makes me very awkward. Feel very awkward.
I'm going in, and I'm going to kind of hide in the corner right by the door, so he probably saw me, but if he wasn't paying attention,
It's
he
more of
wouldn't really know.
It's more like your security blanket, just to get in the corner sort of thing, right?
Right.
Close to the exit, nobody can come up behind me, kind of just in my little hood.
Alrighty.
I lean in the door frame, but don't actually enter the house. But I want to be close to. Well, I mean, I can definitely hear this man because he's like shouting because he's half deaf.
Right.
So I'm perfectly happy being in the back for once.
Okay. He says,
So I was the only one that walked all the way in.
"What's wrong with you then? Hey, girl! What's the matter?"
A woman exploded in the tavern. I yell to him as loudly as I can.
He says, "What? I thought you said somebody exploded."
Yes, somebody exploded. Her veins turned blue. Does that sound like something you've ever seen before, sir?
Okay, you see him kind of look up as if he's thinking for a second. He says, "There are several maladies that could occur with blue veins, yes. None of which I
Yes.
seem to remember results with a fatality of exploding, though."
I look back at Radovan again, hoping he'll say anything.
Like, dig me out of this. He said, "So, you want a wig, then?"
No.
I shrug at a loss for words. I actually don't know what to say at this point in time.
Okay.
Sorry.
He says, this strange
So I'm gonna kind of
disease, do you have it? Have you got it? Is that why you're here? You looking for a remedy?
I may or may not. I was just hoping to get your advice on what it could possibly be. I'm kind of thinking about showing him the tattoo, but he really freaks me out, so I'm not sure if I will.
All right, what was you going to say, Racer?
Oh, I was gonna kind of step out and say, we were told that you were the one in the village to talk to you about maladies.
Yeah.
Is that the word? Okay, maladies, and this woman appeared to have a strange marking, potentially magic-based. Have you ever dealt with anything of the magic sort?
Cursed, I add.
Oh, curses. Ah, he says, and suddenly starts getting all knowing as he crouches over and looks at you. His eyes flip from each one to the other, and then he sits down at the table, and he says, "Curses, now that's a different story. That's something that I can do absolutely nothing about.
Do you know
But-
anybody who has knowledge?
As a matter of fact, I do. See, I'm more of a herb specialist." He says, "I don't know any herbal remedies that can cure what ails you, but I know of someone who can direct you to a man who might be able to help. Yes, now, with my gammy leg and all, I'm not really fit to go a-travelling. And a few weeks ago, I took advance payment to work up some herbal remedies for the mayor of Sorrowmorn. Ain't but 3 days north of here, by car. If you would be willing to take my shipment to him for me, not only will I give you 25% of the advance payment that I've already received, but when you meet the mayor of Sorrowmorn, ask him where you can find a man by the name of Ashlyn Main. He's a practitioner of the magical arts, and a man who I feel sure can assist in removing your curse. In fact, I know he can, because I've seen him do it."
Wonderful.
Ashlyn, what was his name?
Ashley Main.
Ashlyn Main! Are you deaf?
I guess so, sir. Speak up.
Ashlyn Main!
Ashlyn Main.
Yes, you take my herbs to Sorrowmorn, deliver them to the mayor, ask him where Ashlyn Main is, and he'll help you out.
I would like to converse with him a little bit about some herbs, and possibly purchase some stuff for my personal stash from him.
Okay,
Just on a side conversation.
alrighty. What do you guys think? You interested? As I said, I'm willing to pay you a little bit.
To deliver herbs and to
Yes.
meet the guy who might know about our curse, absolutely.
You can use my
100%
cart,
Yes.
and I'll procure a horse from the stable across the street. All you have to do is when you get there, leave the horse and cart with the mayor. He'll see it gets back to me.
It looks like we don't have a choice. I mean,
That's the sort of business I like doing with people. When they don't have choices, means the price is less.
I don't care about the cost.
Fine,
I just
fine.
care about not dying, basically. That's my
Me too.
only priority right now, so be damned with the cost.
He says, well then, if you're not interested in the cost, I'll keep the money myself, and you can just take the horse and cart and deliver the herbs. Sounds fair to me.
I'm gonna glare at Radovan.
I look at Reza, seeing the glare, and I state matter of factly, you can't spend your riches if you're dead. So.
Oh.
So
Burn.
you don't want your share of the money then? Fair enough.
Give it to Reza. Give it to Reza. That's what I say.
Hey.
This is well.
I'm here as well.
I'm talking for Kia as well. That's true.
He
Yeah,
said,
you're an
so
elf. You don't need the gold. You're good.
you just want me to split it between these two then?
Sure. Whatever.
Fair enough.
And then that's how I'll arrange my little herb package. I'll ask him if he would just give me a nice little stash of herbs instead of the money.
Okay.
Poor Kia.
Well, he agrees to your request, and he hands Kia 10 gold, which is
Take it.
her share.
Ooh, that's a lot of herbs.
And then, well, it was actually, he's like selling pre-made tonics to take care of an issue with a town. So, it's not just the herbs he's selling, it's actually stuff that's already been worked up into medicines and tonics and
Wonderful.
ointments and stuff. That's what you guys are transporting. Okay,
Nice
he
little
says,
kit.
kind of looks at you and he says, so what sort of thing are you interested in then? Stuff to cure gout? Sore limbs? Aches
Poisons.
and pains? Poisons? What sort of herbalist do you think I am? Why would I want to give you anything to poison anybody? Very shady, very shifty. Don't know about that.
I'm sure you do, sir, and it's for my own personal safety.
Okay, you're going to have to convince this guy somehow.
Okay.
He's just not going to hand over his knowledge of dangerous plants and stuff. So,
And
what do you want to do?
I'm glancing over at her. Wow, I definitely don't trust this half elf right now. She is very, very sketchy.
I immediately know what spell I'm going to pray to St. Cuthbert for the following day.
Okay.
And that is to purify all my food and water and drink. That's what I'm internalizing right now. Is like with this out in the open.
Right.
That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Okay, so
what do you want to do
can
to try to convince this guy?
I would like to have a private conversation with him.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to take him aside. Well, I don't know how private it's going to be because I got to yell at him. But I'm going to explain to him.
Can you guys go to the other end of town, please?
Yes. I'm going to tell him a little bit about how being a normally lone female traveler, I've experienced a lot of hardships, and a lot of the time it comes down to life or death situations, and having something where I can defend myself at close proximity has saved my life more than once, and that is the only reason that I dabble in poisons.
Alrighty. Sounds like you're being diplomatic, so I think you should make a diplomacy check, please.
Sure.
Which you're not the worst person at.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Oh.
He kind of looks at you and he says, "Look, miss. No offense," he said. "Seeing as you're willing to help me out," he said, "I've got a couple of herbs that I can give you that if you slip them in someone's tea or..." Fifth Barrow, thanks for the follow. If you slip them in someone's tea, or if you go ahead and put them in some food or something like that, it'll put them to sleep. But I certainly don't have anything lethal or that'll do any real harm to anybody, but I'm willing to part with some of that. In fact, if you're willing, as soon as you've helped me out, I've actually got 2 or 3 doses of the stuff already made up, which I'm willing to give you.
It's not particularly what I would usually use it for, but you never know what could come in handy.
It goes,
I don't- yeah.
Rudigan's sleep tonic, I call it.
Okay.
He said, but it's good stuff. It'll drop a rhino.
Okay.
Having overheard this, because there's no having a conversation in privates, I enter the establishment finally, and with my shield close to my chest, kind of not defensive, but in a upright manner, I, with every intention, say, just give her the damn stuff, please.
Okay, so you're going to intimidate the guy.
I'm going to intimidate
Go
the
ahead.
guy.
You're just gonna give it to me anyways.
I mean the other stuff, the stuff that he's,
Mm.
he's being
The poisons.
the poisons. All right.
Alrighty. Right. So you grab the guy kind of by the, grab the guy by the scruff of the neck. Considering that he weighs no more than about 80 pounds in his waif-like state, you can pick him off the ground. The first thing, he pees himself, which is rather embarrassing for him. And once again, you have liquid on you that you probably wish wasn't on you. But as he quakes in his boots, he kind of looks at you and he says, I don't have anything exactly what she's looking for, but, well, I do have some stuff that, well, could make you rather violently ill. I suppose I can give her that. But
Thank you, I say, and
I
put him
don't
gently down.
really hold with giving that sort of thing to strangers, to be honest. Don't know what you might do with it.
Well, we're doing you a favor. I already took a pay cut. This is what I've decided. This is what I'm expecting now. And then I turn to Race and I say, if you ever poison me again, I will kill you.
Again?
If you ever poison me, I will kill you. Again.
Wow.
If you ever poison me again, just again all the time. No, if you ever poison me, I will kill you.
Right, okay.
And then I just walk right out.
And then I'm gonna just kind of say to you as you're going, I never had intentions to.
Right. So basically, you come out of this, Racer, you've got 3 doses of what he calls his sleep tonic, which according to him will drop a rhino. And he reluctantly gives you what looks like some thick, gooey paste in a little box. And he hands it to you, kind of, here.
And what's this one?
He said, let's just say that if you got it in your bloodstream, you wouldn't feel too good. And we'll leave it at that. You figure out what you want to do with it. I don't want anything to do with whatever mischief you're planning.
No mischief, sir, just survival.
Now then, about my herbs. And he kind of comes wandering outside and points at the cart. He says, in the back there's about half a dozen big crates, all with straw in them. If you'll load them on the back of that cart, he said, then we'll pop across the street, get us a horse, and you can be on your way. Northwards, and he points up the road.
Alright.
Are you
I
deaf?
load up the court.
Sorry.
We'll be on our way. You'll never hear from us again. That's what I say to him. And then I load up the cart.
Okay. Well, the crates
Crates,
are
yes.
big, and they're obviously containing, like, they clink a lot, like there's a lot of vials of liquid and stuff. They're fairly heavy. And there is 6 of them, so it's pretty obvious there's no way you're taking them anywhere without this cart. He kind of goes across the street, which he is seriously having problems walking. I mean, he's limping, and that crutch is barely holding him up. It takes him about 4 times to cross the street, or, that it would have you guys. He goes into the little building right next to that, wanders inside, shortly afterwards comes out. The guy goes around the side with him, and they come out leading a horse. It's like a fairly large draft-looking horse. Obviously, it's not really designed for riding, but it is designed for pulling. The guy comes over, hands Radovan the reins of the horse, and says, I take it you know how to shackle this thing to the cart.
Yes.
And he kind of does so with a smirk on his face, almost like he doesn't think you do.
I very, very plainly say, yes, I do. Though I'm not entirely sure I actually do, because I walk usually using my feet most of the time.
I should, as an elf, we ride horses, don't we?
I mean, if any of you have got any riding skill at all,
Yeah.
then you probably do. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so I'll know, and I can just kind of grab the reins and take care of them.
I let them go. Yep, I give them away happily.
Alrighty.
Swiftly and agilely, I get the horses ready.
All right. Well, you shackle the horse to the cart. By now, it's probably about midday. And he kind of points. It's that way! And very clearly is indicating to you to head in that direction. He says, don't forget the mare. Deliver it to the mare of Sorrowmorn. Do you know where Sorrowmorn is?
North.
Pretty much
Got
north.
it. Do we just head north and we'll hit it, or
So
do
you
we
don't
need to
know
go
the way to Sorrowmorn then? At all. Right. Go north. He said, keep going through go through the forest, follow the forest road, through the hills. He said, and eventually you'll come to what appears to be much more of a substantial main road in about probably 2.5 to 3 days. When you interject with it, you'll be kind of up on the bluff of a cliff. Follow the road to your right and it'll take you straight into Sorrowmorn. In fact, you'll probably see Sorrowmorn towards the end of probably towards the middle to the end of the second day, but you won't be able to get to it because it's kind of up on top of a cliff. You're going to have to go all the way around and come back on the backside.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
He said, just remember now, the mayor knows where to find Ashlyn Main. And you need to talk to Ashlyn Main, don't you? You need him. So, any strange ideas about making off with my cart and my herbs, I'd put them out of your head, if I were you. Or I'll call the
Smile
watch
and
on
say,
you.
don't worry.
Call the
We got this. We will deliver your herbs to the mayor.
Alrighty. So you're gonna go ahead and head out of town?
Yes. Do we have rations?
Yes.
As long as we have rations.
If you have them on your sheet, you have them. If not, you may want to make a trip to the inn.
I have rations.
I do not.
No, y'all have been living hand to mouth mostly, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to pop by the inn and get some supplies?
Probably.
Sure, and it'll be nice to see if it's all cleaned up in there or not.
I grudgingly follow.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna mumble under my breath about don't have your shit ready and fucking wasting time.
Alrighty.
Yes.
So
we head to the end.
Go back to the inn.
right. Well, you head back to the inn itself. Once you get back there, the girl is in fact gone.
Okay.
They have cleaned that mess up. The bar wench is scrubbing the floor where the blood was. Several other people are now back in the inn. And mostly out of morbid curiosity than anything else. Oh, you're back then.
Yes, I was hoping to purchase some rations, actually. We're going to be leaving.
Oh, wonderful,
Sure.
wonderful news.
Glad. Wonderful news.
He said,
I thought
well,
you'd say that.
he said, how many days worth of food do you want me to pack up for you guys?
I'd say 3. 3 days.
Fair enough. Each of you? Or just you?
All right.
Okay,
Just two of us.
right.
2 of us.
Well, he basically bundles some bread and some cheese, grabs a few bits of fruit, stuff like that. A wine skin, which is full of water, not wine, and bundles it all up into kind of like one of those makeshift, gets a cloth, wraps it around, ties some string around the top of it, and hands it to you. He says, that will cost, let's see, 5 silver pieces each, please.
Sure, I take out 5 of the 10 that I was handed just a moment ago and give it up to him.
All right. So, deduct 5 silver pieces from your sheet. And it's
Okay.
10 to 1 is the ratio from silver to gold.
Okay.
So 1 gold is 10 silver, just so you know. Alrighty.
So it was only 5 silver, not 5 gold.
Correct, yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, hell. That would, yeah. 10 gold is a lot of money.
Expensive meal.
Fancy.
Okay. And after you've got your food, are you heading off?
I'm
I
ready.
think we should
All righty tighty.
hit him
So
up. Come on, rawhide.
this is your overland map. Crow Bluff is where you guys are right now, and you're heading towards Saramorn. We're going to take a quick break while we are there. So, Escape Buddha, thanks for the follow, my friend. And anybody that we've missed that has followed, we will thank you all at the end of the session when we do our giveaway. Don't forget, we're doing a giveaway
Oh
for
yeah, the giveaway.
giving away a T-shirt
T-shirt I want.
right here.
I would like it.
A
Freaking cool
Choose
T-shirt.
Your Weapon D&D T-shirt. Has all of the different dice on it. So we'll be giving that away at the end of the session. All right, guys. So here you are, situated on the outskirts of Crow Bluff, the village that you're leaving. You'll see right here. Oh my God, isn't it cute? Here's your little tiny cartlet.
Oh, it's so big.
And you are going to travel all the way to Saramorn. Average cart, you can travel about 15 to 20 miles a day at a push. So it's going to be about 3. That's going to show in feet. On
Yeah,
this,
no, I see that.
on this
Sorry.
map, each one of those squares actually represents 5 miles.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
So there you go. Alrighty. So you head out bright and early. If you're going to leave now, I say bright and early. It's like just after lunchtime, in fact.
Oh, crimson tea.
So you head out on the road, and the traveling journey that you're following, the road itself is fairly bumpy. It's more like a dirt road, not an actual paved road in any way, shape, or form. And it takes you through the large forest ahead of you.
Are we all riding on the cart?
There is room for all of you to ride on the cart if you wish.
Okay. Is it going to
Yes.
change our pace if we ride on cart versus walk?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Walking, you're going to do. I mean, if the cart is not going to go a whole lot faster, but over the course of an entire day, I mean, it'll do a few more miles than you're going to walk it. The biggest thing is you won't be exhausted and knackered and tired. So,
I guess we're all uncomfortably in the same cart together.
Oh yes.
Yay.
I mean,
Pretty
there's
sure
room.
Radovan's right stuck in the middle.
Yeah, there's
I don't want to be on the side looking out into the forest.
Nope. You're
well,
in the
there's
middle.
room for 2 of you guys to ride up front, actually driving the
Okay.
cart.
Okay.
I'm hiding
And-
in the back.
And as I was about to say, and seeing as you've only got 6 crates in the back, there's plenty of room for somebody
Okay.
to lay back there. So it's not too bad.
To stealth.
So
back.
yes, Risa.
Can't see me.
Okay, so we're traveling along.
Alrighty.
I am scanning the trees continually.
Oh, you are you? You
I am.
You paranoid half-elven chickie. All right,
Yes.
so you basically wander through. It's a summer's afternoon. You know, trees are singing. The chipmunks are chirping. The crickets are making their little chirpy sounds as well. And your cart heads on. You go much of the day. Starts to get to about mid to late afternoon. Nothing major is happening at this point. Let me move you on. And here you are. We're zoomed in a little bit.
Ah. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. As your cart trundles motionlessly along, you hear a cracking and rustling in the trees up ahead to the left. The branches of the trees move as if some humongous giant is crashing through them. About 200 meters ahead, suddenly a large tree comes crashing down and falls directly across the path ahead.
Wow.
Of course it does.
Who's controlling the cart? Radovan?
I'm not. I'm next to you. I think you're riding the.
Okay,
cart.
I am. I am reining it in.
I
Okay.
need to jump out with my
Okay.
weapon and shield drawn. So
I
basically,
rein it in and come to a screeching halt right before we hit this giant tree.
Okay, so you're gonna kind of go up to the tree and then stop in front of it.
Yes.
Okay, you do so. Out of the undergrowth from either side, suddenly,
Uh-oh.
various different individuals come rushing out from either side. There are 5 of them in total.
Oh no.
One of them walks kind of boldly to the front. Are you guys staying on the cart, or are you getting off? Anyone getting off?
Oh, I got off right away.
I am off, but I'm like crouched in behind the cart.
Okay, so you're going to try and slip off the back of the cart unseen?
Yes.
Okay, they're not going to hear you, but go ahead and make a excuse me, my brain's gone. Go ahead and make a hide roll for me real quick. Let's just see how efficiently you slide off unnoticed. Okay. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean you failed. What about the other 2?
Yeah.
Are you getting off, or are you staying on the cart?
I'm staying on the cart for now.
I immediately get off and approach the gang ahead of me.
All right.
On the other side of the boulder, clearly. Like, I don't like
Tree.
run over or anything. The tree, yes, there we go.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and put you on the cart, and I'm going to march you up to the front of it. Okay. As you approach, the guy on the other side, basically, of the tree, very boldly stands there with his hands on his hips like a brazen scallywag that he is, and says, "Good day, my fine fellows. I know what you carry there, and what price it might fetch. I mean to relieve you of your goods, and should you struggle, perhaps I shall also relieve you of your lives as well. Now step away, walk clear of the cart, and no harm shall come to any of you." He's kind of dressed very foppish. He's got like a puffy white shirt on.
He lies. He's a weenie.
He has
this guy.
He's got a short sword tucked into his belt. He's wearing tight-fitting black pants and like hobnail boots. The people behind him, one of them is kind of brandishing an axe. One of them actually has a short sword and a shield, and he's kind of standing at the back, holding it menacingly, looking at you. One of them is basically holding a weapon very similar to yours, in fact, my good priest. He has a morning star. And then the other himself is armed with a sword that is already brandished. So the 4 behind him are all kind of in ready combative poses, but he's just standing there. Ha ha, look at me.
Okay, and when I hear him speak, I'm going to get back up on the cart and peer over the crates with my bow drawn, specifically targeting the guy with the shield, with intention that if things go the right direction, I'm gonna fire an arrow to hopefully hit right in the center of the shield to basically just kind of put them in their place, saying but I've got it. I haven't fired yet. I'm just waiting to see what Radovan does and how the conversation goes.
Okay, so you're thinking more of launching a warning shot or something like that.
Basically, just like, oh yeah, you're going to come at us, boom, right in your face, and kind of hopefully scare them away, depending on the conversation.
Okay, so you've walked right up to this guy, and there's basically nothing but a fallen tree between the 2 of you.
Or a boulder if you're drunk like me, because apparently I'm still drunk from the whiskey.
It's a boulder tree. It's fine.
It's a boulder tree, right?
It's a magical world. There's boulders and trees. No, I put a foot on the fallen tree.
Okay.
And basically say, "Oi, you guys there, step aside. We have business, but it's not with you, and we must get through." Knowing full well that they'll probably laugh at me, but I say it anyway.
Okay. He says, "I have no interest in detaining you or your lovely young ladies any more than I need to. I just can't personally allow you to do it carrying those narcotics."
How do you know what we have in our possession?
Oh, how I know. I make it my business to know around these parts, sir. He says, I know that you are carrying a number of tonics, a number of remedies, all of which are of a, let's say, herbal nature, but I also know that they would fetch a very, very pretty price if delivered to the right person.
The right person... Oh, sir, go ahead.
I say, I say, how do you know this, and who are you that you would know this? Are you a hotshot in the nearby town that you live in, sir?
Oh,
You
hot
seem
shot
like quite a
indeed.
hotshot.
He says, I don't live in a town. He says, I wander here and there with my band of, well,
Merry men.
we're not really very merry. He said, we're more mercenaries, but we will resort to banditry every great once in a while. You see, I personally think of this more as a mercy mission. There's a war going on not too far away, and there are people dying in desperate need of medications and tonics that will help them, and I know that that's what you're carrying. If I had the coin, I would gladly purchase it from you, but I don't. And he kind of looks behind him, and all of his men laugh. He says, yes, I know, that would have been a good story if it was true, wouldn't it? No, no, we're just here to rob you. It's that simple.
Can I fire my
It's-
arrow? Can I fire my arrow?
Yeah, if you want to. So you're
I
going to
think-
try... You're shooting a warning shot at the guy with the shield, huh?
Do you want to give yourself up that easy, or do you
Right.
still?
At this
no, you don't?
point, he's put his foot up on the tree as well, and he's like put it so that his toes are touching your toes, like almost in defiance.
Oh.
That's cute.
And he kind of
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting.
he,
but
like,
I've got
leans
the bow
in.
drawn.
shoulder, like almost leans in shoulder to shoulder
All right.
to you.
No, I look back at my compatriots and basically give them that. So are we going to do this look?
Okay.
Are we going to fight?
Okay.
Here's what
Well,
happens. Hold on, guys. Before you do that, Shaggy, you look back and kind of as if to give them that all-knowing, and suddenly you feel this almighty shove. Basically,
on.
he just kind of like, as soon as you turned your shoulders, he just shoves you with both hands to push you off the log, draws his sword, and leaps up on top of the log itself. And he goes, now, men, now! And they all kind of come rushing forward. Arrgh!
Arrow gone because I was at the ready. So
Yep,
as soon as he did that, I'm shooting.
So you can count that as an attack of opportunity. Now, do you still want to use it as a warning shot, or do you actually want to shoot somebody now?
No, we'll shoot somebody.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're
We're going for right here.
Who are you firing at?
Let's go for the guy right at the pompous dickhead who just shoved Radovan.
That's who I wanted to
Aw.
show.
The guy standing on the log. Okay.
How far is he from me?
Fire away. He is. Let's see. That's about 20 feet. So yeah, he's still in point blank for you.
Yes. Well, it says 10 feet from here.
Yeah. Ignore that. That
Okay.
only counts if the scale is if it's actual
Cool.
light.
Cool. All right, let's kick this motherfucker's ass.
It's
Watch me roll a
on.
1. Okay, so what do I need to do here?
Okay, so your attack roll, because you're using a short bow and you are at point blank range, you have a +5 to hit.
I'm cool with that.
You are
All right.
skilled with your short bow.
Yeah, yes, motherfucker.
Yes.
Wow,
Oh.
that is a crit possibly. Roll again. If you successfully hit with a second roll, this is just a straight, you roll, make another attack roll. If the attack roll also hits, then the damage you're going to deal will be doubled. Because it
Attack
will
is
actually,
a D20 or is that
yeah,
a
so
D?
roll as if you're going to hit him again, just like you just did.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay,
Ah.
no. So it's not a crit, but it's still a good hit. So you're going to roll your damage, which is D6 plus 1 for your short bow. Actually, you know what? A short bow is actually 20 anyway, so it's not 19 and 20. That would have been if you used your short sword. So 6. Okay, you launch your arrow from the back of the cart. It flies through the air and thuds firmly in his upper shoulder. He's like, ah! And he falls backwards off the log. And flat on his ass. Okay, so he's now down behind the log. You can hear him like wincing in pain, so he's not dead, but clearly he is not happy about the situation either. Okay, so Radovan, do you wish to move to engage these guys, or do you want to wait for them to come to you?
I'm going to move to engage.
Okay, at this point, you guys all need to roll initiative, so it's D20 plus your dexterity modifiers.
Ooh. Oh
Okay.
wow.
Wow.
Let's get these. Yeah, beat my 4. Oh yeah, you beat me with a 5.
Easy,
Wow.
easy
Okay,
win.
so we are going Kia.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna do what I'm best at
Hold
and
on a sec.
grease,
Followed by
grease these guys up. So since there's so many of them, and hopefully get them all rolling on the ground so we can go in for the kill. Maybe not the kill, but the maim.
All right, so you're casting grease. Whereabouts you wish to cast it?
Where are they right now? Where they were running towards us, right?
They're all
have they
kind of like
reached
charging forward. It looks like their intent is to leap over the tree and basically bulldoze
Okay,
head first.
great.
I mean, your priest is about to get basically massacred. They're all just going to charge in and like he's there ready to bear the brunt of all four of these guys.
I want to put the grease right where they're going to land when they try to jump over the tree.
So you're putting it at the base of the tree. Okay.
Yes.
Alrighty. So you go ahead and do that. So we have grease lightning right there at the bottom.
Grease lightning.
This guy is over to the side here. All right. So that's your action. Okay, they are next. Basically, do you want to give any ground, or are you going to try to hold your ground, Radovan?
I'm going to fall back, knowing that they have the charging momentum, and there's a tree right there. So,
okay,
being right up against the tree is probably not the smartest move because they're in the air at that point, or you know.
Got you. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Okay, so these guys basically each one of them kind of comes charging forward over the log. I'm going to move this a second so I can move this guy. And then I'm going to move this back. Okay, which means each one of them encounters the unknown grease spell first.
Oh, yes.
Okay, two of them, as soon as they step down off of the height of the log and land on the floor, because bearing in mind they're moving pretty quickly, they're like trying to just run over this thing. The second they hit the ground, they're basically like, their legs just zoom out from underneath them, and two of them come crashing down. The other two
hit their heads on the tree.
Nothing quite so drastic.
Dang it.
The other two managed to kind of plow and bulldoze through it, and end up toe to toe with Radovan. They will make an attack, but it will be at a -4 to hit because of their off balance.
Okay.
Okay, so the guy with the Morning Star kind of stumbles and lunges for you, but his swing probably is a good 2 feet short of hitting you. The guy with the sword, the short sword, he's a little closer to the mark, but it's such a clumsy blow, you just kind of, oh please, just pat it aside with your shield. Radovan, you are next, sir. What are you doing?
I am going to straight up attack the guy with the Morning Star under the pretense that only one should be a master of the Morning Star, and it is me.
He's being punished for his choice of weapons. All right, swing away, sir. Radovan, you are at +2 because you've done nothing to anything else, so it's just a d20 +2.
Yes!
Bam! Okay, roll your to hit again, because this again could be potentially a critical.
So 1d20 +2 again?
Yep. And it is a critical, so
sweet.
roll your damage, d8 +2.
I'm doing
1d8 +2.
Yeah.
Oh
my
Holy
gosh.
hell, okay.
Only one Morning Star wielder here.
And
Well,
that's
they fucking meant that apparently.
And that's a crit, so that does 20. Okay, so basically, the guy with the Morning Star, he swats at Radovan and misses by at least 2 feet. Radovan kind of parries the short sword aside with his shield, and then kind of takes a lunging step forward with a huge overheaded swing of his Morning Star, hits the guy right on the top of the cranium, like, BAM! And there's this huge crunch as the guy's skull just like caves in, and blood just pours down his face as he kind of just stands there, his eyes shudder for a second as his brain recognizes that it's now dead, and then he just drops to the floor, almost like in a quivering pile, like a building.
Oh my gosh.
And he is like wasted, dead, out of there, gone, deceased, not happy.
X amount dead.
I'm just looking
Wah,
at
wah.
Radavan like, holy crap. Nice.
Yeah,
I'd give like a little finishing touch, looking back at Kia, but I know we're in the heat of battle, so I'm not going to do that.
that was an absolutely graphic opening move for the game. The opening move of combat, that was hideous. Like on melee combat,
Amazing.
crunch.
It's all going to be
Okay.
misses from here,
Epic
guys.
moment.
Yeah.
Okay, Raisa, it is you next. What do you wish to do as you stand back behind the cart, or with the cutter of the cart? There's one.
All right.
One of them is in hand-to-hand combat with Radovan, which means you get -4 to hit him because he's already engaged in melee, because of the chances that you're going to try to deliberately not hit Radovan. One of them you cannot see because he's behind the log still. The other two are laying on their ass, doing their best to try to scrabble to get up as they slip and slide in Kia's grease spell.
I would like to take a shot at one of the guys slipping and sliding in the grease.
Alrighty.
So I'm guessing I'm still +5 for the point blank.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. You plug it.
Sweet.
Your arrow remains true and slides fluidly through the air and impacts one of the guys on the floor. Roll your damage. D6 +1.
Nice. No.
Nice.
Nice, yeah.
Okay.
You're on tonight.
The arrow hits the guy square in the chest as just as he's pushing himself up with his hands, like he's about to stand. He's got his feet underneath him. As he goes to lift his body, the arrow goes, hits him square, and he just and collapses backwards, dead on the floor. So that is 2 of the guys that are already dead. Okay.
Nice.
The debonair fellow behind the log stands up, clutching the arrow. Glancing around, he sees his butchered compatriot on the floor with his brains all over the place. One of them laying dead. One of them who's kind of glancing to the left and to the right, almost in bewilderment, like, oh crap, what do we get ourselves into?
Yeah.
At this point, he yells, "Darn it! Retreat! To the trees, men! To the trees!" As he kind of limbers off, or like himself, he's like behind the log. He's like making his way into the trees as quickly as he can. This guy here, I'm gonna move him over here and add him to the pile, leaving one that's scrabbling to get up still, and one that's toe to toe with Radovan. Okay, let me make a check on him. Okay, he has bottled it. He turns to flee. If you wish to, Radovan, you may make an attack of opportunity on this guy as he attempts to run. Or you can let him go. It's your choice.
Oh, well, I'm definitely attacking him. My dream situation at this point in time, morally, is to capture one alive so that we could rob them. You know.
Wow. Okay.
Fair. All's fair. All's fair. They tried to rob us. We rob them back.
Ooh, I
So
like
yeah,
that.
I'm definitely attacking.
Divine punishment. Okay. Go ahead. Make a dice roll. See if you hit this guy. D20 plus 2.
Isn't it?
But you're actually at D20 plus 4.
Is this to hit or capture?
This is for him to hit. This is an attack of opportunity because the guy is trying to turn his back to run away from him.
Yeah.
Okay, you kind of, as an afterthought, as you notice him run, you like, why you? But you manage to catch nothing but thin air as he turns his tail to Scarper. However, this round the grease is gone, but it is your turn, Kia. So what do you want to do?
So they're running away right now. So I'd actually like to whisper a message into that little debonair's head as he's running away.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yes, and I would like to say, Kia, Radovan, Raisa, remember those names. Never mess with us again.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a thing.
So he just hears it in his head as he runs away.
Right, say that again. What are you whispering to
Hopefully
the
he
guy?
gets-
What's your whispering?
I said, Kia, Radovan, Raisa, remember those names. Never mess with us again.
Okay. So he's out of there. The one guy that this guy successfully runs, the one eventually stands up. Now, the one that's still there, that's getting to his feet.
Yeah.
What do you want to do with him, you guys? Because he's going to try to run, unless you want to stop him in any way.
Ooh.
Try to capture him, obviously, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alrighty. So, how do you wish to capture him? What are your actions? Your efforts? What are you going to do?
Whose turn is it?
Well, it is Radovan's turn to act, but he's also the only person that's toe to toe with the guy.
Well,
I have arrows that can maim, and I also have rope that I can.
I have rope as well, and a grappling hook.
Yeah.
You're going to try to round the guy.
Come here, you!
Not knowing that we have cowboys in our midst, I'm going to try to use my shield to bash him onto the floor. I mean, I don't want to kill him with my weapon, but I definitely want to hit him back on the ground since he's been scrabbling to get up this whole time.
Okay, so you're not going to try to hurt him, you're just going to try to push him back to the ground?
Oh, if he gets hurt, I don't mind. I mean, he can get hurt a little bit, you know?
Okay, so I mean, are you actually going to swing at him with the weapon, or are you just going to, like, kick him, or...
No, I'm going to use my shield bash.
Okay, so he's going to... Alrighty, make it
down. Bam!
Make it a hit roll.
Alright.
It will be a straight D20.
Okay, straight D20?
Actually, no. It wouldn't.
I'll take it.
Oh, look at dude! What is it with? I'd like somebody.
Radavan!
I'd like someone to check the programming on Roll20 because I think
Rigged!
I think Radovan's hacking. Okay. So basically,
the Roll20 felt really bad about all the past times when we were doing our practice runs. All the times I missed, like a little idiot.
Thanks for the follow, Bacon.
1s and 2s.
Roll it again, dude. That's a potential crit. Roll it again.
Okay.
Don't kill the guy.
Just 1d20, right?
Yep.
Rigged!
What? What?
Radovan's rolling my dice the rest of the game.
Wow. Okay, man.
Those are real!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we refer to as the shiggles. This is what we were talking about earlier. Radovan has lost it. Radovan has left the building.
That's I don't even believe that. Come on, really?
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
So roll a d4, and then double it. Or roll d4 plus 2 and multiply it by 2.
1d4 plus 2?
1d4 plus 2.
Okay, here we go.
Oh.
For a 5.
Nice.
Okay, so it's still a 10. and you did indicate that if he gets hurt, you're not too fussed.
I don't want to kill him though. If 10 kills him, I'll feel a little bad. You know?
Well, let me just put it to you this way: it's gonna.
Oh shit!
Oh,
Basically, you swing your shield. You swing your shield with the intent.
Pockets. I don't know.
Yeah, you swing your shield with the intent of just catching the guy upside the head and knocking him violently to the floor. However, as he stands, he kind of brings his own cranium directly in line with the very edge of the shield. And it kind of catches him right across the temple. There's a gratifying crunch as he slumps to the floor and blood is now pouring from his nose and mouth.
Awesome.
I'm stunned, so I'm just like standing with I guess the bottom of my shield is bloody because that's what hits, or was it the face of it?
Just the very edge of the shield, like the blade of the rim.
Dripping on the floor, and I'm just looking at it like, that's totally not what I meant to do right
I look
there.
at Radovan and I just give him this like death stare. Like we could have gotten information out of this.
Radovan is a hardened killer, guys. Jesus, don't mess with the priest of Saint Cuthbert. This guy is a psychopath.
Hey, you threaten his Morning Star
They threatened his
building,
manhood,
and he'll fuck you up.
The guy dared to threaten his manhood by saying, "My morning star's bigger than yours." Okay,
Yeah.
Where's
so
Shiggles the parrot? Just side thing.
Yeah.
Who
who's
made
Shiggles?
that?
That Shiggles the parrot is actually a parrot from last Friday.
Pirate
Okay.
stream.
Bane 1271 had her Tasty Beverage Friday, and it was Pirate Day, National Pirate Day. So
Remember?
we all dressed as pirates, and I was on there, and I actually had a
I
little.
was too, Gore.
Oh, that's right. So how do you not know? How do you not
I
know
left
then?
early, I guess. Anyway,
okay.
sorry to.
So yeah,
Shiggles.
we had a
Yeah.
parrot on my shoulder, and that was Shiggles. Anyway, so
Radovan.
Ratovan.
so you have 3 dead bandit fellows.
If you
One
guys
of which-
can see, Raisa has already made her way over to the base a while ago.
Yep. Okay.
Coincidentally.
So so you got the 3 dead guys. One with an arrow protruding from his chest, courtesy of Raisa. One with his skull crushed in, courtesy of Radovan, and the other one with his temple broken and blood pouring out of his nose and mouth, also courtesy of the priest of St. Cuthbert. May God have mercy on his soul.
Turn to Kia and say, "Did the innkeeper pack any alcohol? Because I need a drink right now."
He did
I
not.
roll my eyes and say, "Why don't you take that poison that Raisa got?" It's basically the same thing.
I say touche and just wander. I wander a little bit off, with no interest of looting the bodies, since there's no one alive to loot from, to like kind of harangue. And I just look into the distance. That's what I do at this point in time.
Okay.
Alrighty. That's what you're doing. Kia, you doing anything in particular? I already know what Race is doing. I already figured
Yeah,
that out.
I'm going back to ready the horse and keep on heading down the trail. I'm just gonna wait on Raisa because I know what she's about now. It's about she's about the shiny stuff. So
Okay.
whatever.
So, Racer, are you checking the corpses?
Absolutely.
Alrighty.
For all the things, I am.
Okay, let's see, who do you have here? Okay, on the guy that you shot in the chest that was wielding the axe, he has a hand axe. He also has 13 silver pieces and 1 gold piece.
I will take those.
The guy that dared pick up a morning star, he has got 8 silver pieces and, you guessed it, a morning star. The guy that had the short sword has 3 gold pieces and a short sword. Thanks for
Nothing
follow,
else.
Rob606.
No
Nope, that's pretty
shinies?
much it. Well, no, only gold. I mean, 2 gold.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you got
Okay.
a total of 3 gold pieces and 21 silver pieces.
Okay, well, I'm
They-
going to take all that.
They were just lackeys. You should have looted the ringleader.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
do, however, have one
Instead of
impending
just
issue.
frightened him.
So
Yes.
3 gold, 21 silver?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to take that, and then I'm going to take the 3 weapons and place them in the back of the cart
Okay.
and ask my cohorts if they would like to acquire any of them. How big is this axe? Is it a throwing axe? Like, can
It's a
I-
hand axe. It's about yay big. I mean, you could throw it. You could use, it's basically, you could use it like a hatchet, or you could hurl it if you wanted to. You're not necessarily proficient with it, but you could use it.
I might just
And
attach
so-
that to my belt because it's a throwaway, right? If I have to throw it, I can throw it, and I don't care about getting it back.
Absolutely, could come in handy.
So
Okay.
throwing like a short axe.
Yep,
Alright.
hand axe.
All right. So there's a morning star and a hand sword up for grabs.
Yep,
If you guys
short,
would like.
short sword and a backup morning star if you wanted it, priest.
Can I inspect it to see how good a quality it is? I mean, worst case scenario, I'll try to sell it at the next stop.
Yeah.
For the coins.
It's fair to average. I mean, it's nothing. It certainly was made by no master craftsman, but it's not a whole lot worse than yours. Oh, I think we may have just temporarily lost Jane Olvana.
Oh no! There she is.
What? You did?
Oh, you're back.
We got the little
Okay.
swirly for a second. I was about to shut
Sorry.
you, but you came back.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. It's
Yes. So I say to Kia and Reza, let's just hold it. Hold on to it and possibly sell it at the next place
Gotcha.
for a free coin.
Agreed.
Alrighty.
Get in the cart, guys.
Thank you for the
Good
How
follow.
are we
Heck
gonna get
outta
around
here.
this tree?
Yeah, and that's the impending problem that I talked about, because it is
I forgot.
a very big tree. It's certainly not something you're going to pick up and move.
Well, we got an
Right.
axe. We might.
You do have a hand axe. I mean, if you would like to spend,
Yep.
if you'd like to spend a few hours, you could chop this thing into movable sections, but it's definitely going to take a lot of sweat and a good bit of time.
And my telekinesis only picks up to 5 pounds, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're not moving an entire tree, Kia. Not yet.
Someday. Can we oh goodness. Can we grease underneath the tree with a spell and push it?
The grease would help it move, but the weight is still going to be it's just too big. It's too heavy. It's an entire tree.
I think we have to just use the hand axe, and I'll chop it up.
Or could we, instead of having to move the whole tree, could we chop down a smaller tree and then put the logs underneath it and roll it out of the way?
Probably would take more time and more energy to do that.
Okay. Is there another?
I know exactly what you're thinking about.
It's like a conveyor belt.
Yeah, if you'd have had the
Right,
trees, you could have done it. But the fact is, you'd have to cut them. Even if you cut, I know what you mean, like cut smaller trees because they fall easier.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time you cut those down and cut enough of them, maneuver them, you're probably looking about the same amount of work either way.
Okay.
Is there
a
a-
route that we can take around that's maybe a little bit longer, but we'll get us there?
I guess that's the logical next question, yes.
You'd have to go all the way back to town, and then you'd have to circumnavigate the entire forest, which probably would take you more like three or four additional days minimum.
No, that I say to my fellow travelers, I'll just cut it down. I'll just cut it up, basically.
Okay. So you just want to you're just going to start chopping it into. Dusty Cloud, thanks for the follow. You're just going to start chopping it into sections that you believe the three of you could maybe roll and move.
Yeah, so we can navigate around it, like not the whole tree, but I mean this is
you haven't got to move the whole thing. You've only got to move enough to swing the cart by.
Right. And I'll use my grease if it'll help when we're dragging it.
Well, this tree looks like it has branches on one side, so we could go around that side or to the left of it, chop the branches, and we can probably sneak by, and it won't take as much chopping to get rid of it.
That's actually more the root system.
Oh, the roots.
Where they kind of but I mean either way, I mean couple of hours.
Which is easier to chop.
Couple of hours of hand axe work and a bit of. I mean it'll be tiring and it'll be bothersome, but you'll. I mean it's doable.
Okay.
It's gonna delay you. That's all.
I'm gonna take out the water that was stored in my rations because I know that Radovan's gonna be needing a lot of it.
Okay. All right, Radovan. It looks like it's man's work.
Okay. I put down my weapon and shield, pick up the hand axe, and
go to work.
Go to work.
Alrighty, let's see. Give me a strength check. We're just going to see how quickly you work through this.
This is where
Radovan, yeah.
1d20 with the modifier, the strength modifier, right?
Yes.
All right.
Hey,
give me a roll.
We could use a horse or mule to
use
a horse to help pull it.
Oh, that'd be smart.
Now we're thinking.
That's a suggestion.
That
was not my idea. That was not my idea. That was not my idea.
So, yeah, I mean, the horse is not going to pull the entire tree, but it would certainly mean you could make a lot less cuts.
Oh, man. Why didn't we think of that?
There you go, you see. Okay,
I'm tired from battle, guys, okay? I'm not
This is true. And I'm really not.
He's weary. You're a Ponzi noble. You're not used to these kind of materialistic things. This menial labor. Okay, so basically, you chop the tree into kind of cut it pretty much in half. And then you're going to use unshackle the horse and use it to heave those out of the way. Nice deal. Okay. So it takes you about all the names with a capital. So
I was wondering why it wasn't working.
Yeah, because they're names, right? So there you go. So you haul the tree out of the way. I mean, it has burnt a couple of hours of your daylight, but you have successfully achieved it. That brings us to our next break time. Back to the action, guys. So you successfully move the tree using your trusty companion, the pony, and continue on your merry way. Okay, there we are.
Okay.
At this point, that's going to put you guys, with your delay, it's going to put you right at the outskirts of the forest. Now, it's starting to get dark at this point. You've been traveling all day. Your pony has had a rest, however, because it stood around and did nothing for a little while, but then you made it pull some trees, so it's still okay. But you're fairly weary. As I said, it is dark. It's almost a full moon, so there is some sunlight. For you elves, you can see pretty clearly. And you're on the very outskirts of the woods. What do you want to do? Do you want to continue, or do you want to think about making camp, or...
Is that a town ahead of us, or is that a pond?
Well, technically, you can't see that. Bear it in mind.
Yeah.
This is a representational map for the stream to see what's going on. You guys can only see, 30, 40 feet ahead of you.
Okay.
All you know is as you come out of the forest, there's a vast expanse of open plains ahead of you, and the trees are behind you.
I say, I think we should keep going. I'm thinking about that girl that exploded. I don't know how long we have to have this tattoo on here. We could die in 3 seconds. I don't want to stop.
Well,
basically.
both you and I can see Kia. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Radovan can't see. I mean, it's outside. It's fairly moonlit, so he can see. He can see, but he's not going to see any details.
I'm just exhausted. I want
Yeah,
to
I mean,
sleep.
the man's been chopping. He's probably laying in the back of the car.
That's true.
That's kind of what I was going to say.
Because
I'm in the back.
he basically chopped down like he chopped down pretty much half a small elm tree. So.
So
with-
I say,
with a
Radovan, how
hand
about
axe.
Raysa? Raysa and I can sit up front, and you can take a nap in the back.
Mm.
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 Alright.
Mr. Grumpy. Okay, so you guys want to kind of push it on through the night a little bit?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you going to plan on pushing this thing for like 24 hours to the next day, or are you just going to try to or are you at least going to try to cover up the distance that you lost?
I just want to at least cover our distance.
Okay.
Until maybe we find, maybe I'm kind of hoping that we'll run into, a small town or somewhere where we can overnight that's a little safer than just out in the middle of nowhere.
Alrighty. Well,
Yes.
isn't that special? So you carry on. It's now the early wee hours of the night. At this point, even you elves are starting to get very tired. The horse is starting to drag its feet as well. You're about to enter what appears to be another cup of trees, not so much a forest, more like a small wood. And there is a large, I say large, medium-sized pond over to your left. It's right at the base of a small crop of overhead hanging rocks, like a small crag, which would also give you some shield from the wind.
Okay.
There's fresh water here. Wouldn't be the worst place in the world to stop, and you guys are pretty worn out. But it's entirely up to you, of course.
I'd like to
Look at
scout the
Raysa.
area.
Yeah.
Just gonna kind of look around, make sure it is clear. Probably hop off the cart, do a little silent walk around.
Alrighty.
And I'll stay
I-
with the cart just in case anybody tries to sneak up on us and steal it.
Ah, okay.
I am snoring in the back of the cart.
Okay, so Radovan is still asleep at the back of the cart. Fair enough. Okay. So you're going to scout around the area and make sure that everything seems fairly...
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and search the area if you wish. Racer. Alrighty. You have a pretty good you scrabble around, check around the pond, check the trees, the bushes, and stuff like that. You don't find anything particularly strange, iffy. No groups of bandits hiding in the trees.
Excellent.
Great.
Seems all fairly peaceful.
And hopefully I found a nice spot to camp for the night.
Alrighty. So, yeah, I mean, you've got, as I said, there's like some trees here. You've got, you've got the ponds right here. You've got some bushes and trees right here that offer a fairly good amount of shelter because there's like a small crop of trees right around the outskirt.
Yeah, can we, I'd like to move the cart maybe towards that area off the road and get a little bit of coverage on it.
Okay, so you
And
want to kind of
unhook
move
the
it under
horse
the
and
trees.
tie the horse to the tree.
Okay, that's smart.
I think we should take watches, so seeing as Radovan is sleeping so soundly, I will offer to take first watch and let Kia get some sleep.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna go sit near the cart and rest my head on something that's probably still uncomfortable.
Alrighty. So you're going to basically rest. Raisa is keeping watch, and Radovan is still in the land of Nod, still way, way asleep.
I'm having very messed up dreams.
Okay.
What's the season, by the way?
It's
Yes.
midsummer. It's fairly warm still.
Okay.
So, being that it is Midsummer's Day, I mean, it gets colder at night, but, I mean, you guys have all got cloaks and robes and stuff like that. I mean, unless it rains, it's not too terribly
Okay.
bad right now.
Great.
Okay. So Raisa is keeping watch.
Yes.
Okay. Make a constitution check for me, please, Raisa. Soon as you have been awake almost 24 hours, we're going to check to make sure you don't accidentally nod off.
And that's a d20 plus my modifier?
Yes, please.
Oh god, I'm falling asleep.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're not like just, but you definitely can feel your eyes are getting very, very heavy. You're doing that whole
Oh dear.
thing where you kind of keep shaking yourself awake. Do you wish to try to do anything to try to bring yourself more awake, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna hopefully realize that I'm falling asleep, and maybe wake Radovan for his turn to watch.
Okay.
Maybe wake Radovan.
Maybe.
So you're going to attempt to wake Radovan, is what you're
Attempt
saying?
to wake, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you're getting woken up, Radovan.
I know at this point that Raisa is a half elf, right? I mean, she
Right.
has that wonderful scarf on, so I can't necessarily see her ears.
No.
But she has the look of part elvish, right?
She looks a little foreign, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Leave me
I haven't
alone.
revealed.
Leave me alone. I'm sleeping here. That's what I say. Not moving from where I am in the cart.
She's gonna roll over and snuggle back down.
Pretty much.
You're gonna get a poke. Radovan, it's your turn for watch.
Watching what? I can't see anything anyway. Get the elf up.
It's your turn for listen. Poke. You've been sleeping longest. It's your turn. Poke.
I did most of the work. You guys did nothing. Useless elves.
You're gonna get a boot in your ribs.
Bloody
Get up!
racist.
Ow.
Can I suddenly wake up right now with a because I had a nightmare
Oh, did
as all
you?
this is happening. Yes, and I say, I remember a brooch. And
Oh, okay. All right. No, that makes
What?
sense. Yeah. No, I'm with
Yeah.
you 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
What?
I like that. That makes sense.
Yes.
And I'm gonna just
Ouch.
immediately look to her. Like, what?
I use this opportunity to try to go back to sleep.
I don't.
I'm gonna notice that it's gonna be one of these looks, and then a boot to the ribs again.
Yeah.
Stop! Stop!
It's clear you're not getting to sleep, dude.
Damn, fine. So I get up.
I mean, at this point, you're awake.
Ow.
Any, you've gone from that half awake, half sleepy
basically
stage
just
to that
screamed.
wide awake crap. What with her suddenly yelling something about brooches, or maybe she said roaches. Who the hell knows? And with somebody kicking you in the ribs twice with a big boot. Yeah, you're awake, whether you want to be or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I exit the cart and drag my weapon and shield to the two to listen, clearly not happy.
Okay, so I rub my eyes. I'm feeling very, very uncomfortable, and I say, I remember a brooch from the night before we were taken.
Okay, while Kia is talking about the brooch, Raisa, you've noticed something with your super keen eyes.
Okay.
Against the moonlit night, up here above the rocky crag that overshadows the pond, you see several pairs of glowing eyes moving restlessly backwards and forwards, as if they're watching you. It's almost like some kind of prowl, like they're just moving to the left and the right, like as if they're pacing along this top here.
All right. So I'm gonna go, shh, and immediately go into like a crouch and point.
Okay.
I shut up and I immediately shut up.
Military signals.
I'm not gonna mess with that.
Not
Um,
seeing or hearing what they're reacting to, I immediately attribute Raisa's weird behavior to the fact that she's Raisa, and I don't sense that she feels there's danger, or I think she's just being weird.
Okay. Kia, as soon as Racer points in that direction, you can very clearly see now as you guys are both kind of looking, and your elven eyes adjust, it looks like dog-like creatures, possibly wolves or something, prowling along up there. Our priest, you can't see the shape of anything, but every great once in a while, you do kind of get that eerie, glowing yellow glint in the moonlight, like when you see a dog or something like that. When the moon happens to catch its eyes right, you catch it. So you kind of suddenly start realizing maybe she's not as crazy as you might think she is.
Damn it!
Shh.
Right.
I repeat the shh to Radovan, even though he didn't say anything. I could just tell that he didn't believe Raisa.
Gotcha. At this point, Cal,
Cal.
is kind of like squirming in his little side pouch, and he leaps out and lands on the floor next to you. His back arch going.
Oh gosh.
Ugh, damn
Say
cats!
Cal, shh, and like beckon Cal to get back in my purse. Purse? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like a little. You've got like a man purse, like
Yeah.
a flat man purse that you pop your cat in.
Yeah. I try to pick him up and put him back in.
Okay. He's kind of squirmy. It's like he doesn't want to be confined. He feels threatened, so he feels like he wants the ability to run and get up trees and stuff. Typical cat behavior.
Okay.
But I mean, if you're laying the law down, he will do what you tell him because he's your familiar. But
Yeah.
he isn't happy.
Okay.
Your empathy with him. He's scared.
Okay.
Okay. You notice that whatever these things are, they seem to be getting a little bit bolder now, and they're starting to make their way down the side of the trees here.
Oh god.
Whew.
And
Can I go ahead and do something, or do we have to roll initiative?
It depends what you want to do. I mean, you're not in combat yet, so.
I want to make a ghost sound level. I want to try to scare him away.
What sort of sound are you trying to create?
I'd like to make a large rustling coming from the very opposite direction of us.
As in, like,
and some,
like up in these bushes here, or where, or away from them, the other side of them.
Other side of them.
Okay, gotcha. So more in this kind of direction over here. they kind of startle briefly and kind of look, and you sort of notice them sniffing the air. They've hesitated, but then you guys seem to be way more interesting to them than
Dang
whatever
it.
the sound may or may not be.
Oh, way to go,
Okay.
elf. Seriously, woman.
Okay. They're moving closer.
Anybody have
Gosh.
fire?
I mean, you guys can see them, but they're like, they're moving
Yeah.
stealthily down the bank.
Nice. I have a flint and steel.
Elves,
Yeah,
you can
that's
kind of
good.
see, at this point, your horse is starting to and stomp its feet a little bit.
Oh no.
It doesn't feel happy that it's tied up.
Oh, can we mount up and GTFO?
You possibly could if you wish. I mean, you'd have to, untie the horse and get everything set back up. I mean, that's up to y'all.
I walk ahead of Kia and Risa and whisper to them, undo the horse, we're getting out of here. And then I proceed to cast my 0-level light spell on my shield with the hopes of startling them,
Gotcha.
that we can then get the hell out of there. Because I am in no mood to fight these guys, these creatures, these dogs.
The way they're moving, now they're sort of like, you notice that they're starting to flank the cart. They're moving a lot faster now and a lot more aggressive. I mean, they're a hell of a lot quicker than you guys are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's clear now by the way they're moving, their designs don't seem to be much you guys. It seems to be more that horse.
Oh, wow.
Now they are closer. They don't actually look to be wolves. They're kind of a ragtag bunch. They're more like wild dogs than anything else.
Okay.
They're definitely not as intimidating as a full-blown gray wolf, but they're thin, they're lean, and it doesn't look like they've had a meal in a while, which probably makes them as mean as shit.
I've never encountered mean shit before, but okay.
Hey, come visit my house after a vindaloo curry. That's all I'm saying. After I've had curry, come visit my house. You'll find out what a mean shit looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've untied you start to untie you're untying the horse, and now they're starting to kind of run around the cart. They're like doing perimeter circles, like, covering the area around you. Like they're moving up and out and over and round and around the cart and stuff like that. Like they're trying to pluck up the nerve to make a play for you.
Okay. Wow. So I'm guessing if I try to cast grease, I wouldn't be able to get all of them since they're spread out.
Yeah, not even close. And they're all kind of moving rather rapidly around, like in circles.
Okay.
I shine my shield as many places as I can and start shouting at them to get back, to step away, being as loud as I possibly can. That's what I'm doing right now.
All right, and I realize that's what Radovan's trying to do, so I start yelling as well and trying to make noises, slamming my quarterstaff on the ground.
Okay, so you're basically doing the whole, yeah, get out of here, go on now, go on.
Get out
you
of
That's
mangy
not great.
dog.
Thanks for the follow, buddy. Okay.
The
So,
whole
yeah,
Airbud thing, yeah.
Right. As you're doing that, suddenly the gray one here makes a diving play at the horse.
Oh.
Like it's the ringleader. It kind of runs in and snaps at the horse's leg. Do any of you guys want to do anything in reaction to that?
Dagger.
Race is quickest. Are you gonna try to jump on it and stab it, or are you gonna hurl a dagger at it?
Oh, I'm gonna try and jump at it and get it right in there.
Okay, so you're gonna try to run up and actually lunge at the thing.
Yeah, do a killing
Yeah.
blow.
All right. Well, as soon as we're now getting into combat, let's go ahead and get our initiative rolls, guys. Oop,
Okay.
I just moved it.
All right.
And I apologize. It's dexterity or
Initiative is your dex, so you're doing a d20 and adding your dex bonus, yes?
perfect. Okay. 17.
Okay, Racia on a 17.
13.
Go, Raven.
At least
still-
you get 20s where it counts, Radovan.
Really tired, so my reaction's not there.
It's all right. Radovan goes last, but he always makes an impact when he lands. So
Oh yeah.
Okay.
okay. Well, the speed of these dogs, they're way quicker than you guys. As soon as the first one makes a play, the others all start rushing in as well. Two of them are actually attacking the horse. You're turning to attack one of the one that come closest to you, or the gray one. Which, as you're doing so, the other one makes a diving play at your turned back. And the one over here basically is diving headfirst at Radovan. So let me make the two that are attacking your horse. Right, one of them grabs into the thigh of the horse and starts, but the horse kind of rustles and kicks and flings the thing off. But the horse is definitely wounded. The other one is just kind of snapping at the underside of the horse, like, but missing. The one that leaped on Racer. Okay, you kind of as you kind of bent down to lunge at the one that you were stabbing at, Racer. Suddenly you're aware of a canine form kind of flying over your shoulder and over your back, like it was literally jumping right at you as you ducked forward, and it misses you. Radovan, the other one, kind of lunges forward and is snapping up at you, but you're able to kind of just push your shield towards it, and it's mostly just clang, clang, clang against the shield itself. Okay, that brings Racer up next. What are you going to do? You're stabbing the gray one?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Alright, D20 for you to hit, and with a dagger, you are at plus nothing, so just a straight D20 if you're stabbing with it. 18. Okay,
Yay.
you lunge forward at D4 for damage.
Do it. Do it.
Do it.
1d4?
Yep.
No.
As the wolf leaps or yelps, as you kind of stick it in the side, it very quickly pulls away and kind of runs back over here, away from the combat initially, like in more in alarm and surprise than anything else. Kia, what are you going to do?
You not take candle.
Very nice.
Well played.
I'm gonna try. I'd like to try to use my magic missile on
Line them up.
light 'em up. Yeah.
Line them
What?
up.
Remind me
what-
where these wolves are at. Can't tell.
Well, one of them is basically just jumped clean over Racer and has landed kind of in front of her.
Okay, that is definitely the one I'm going for then.
Okay,
And
because
then
it's the one that's now, it's actually the one that's between you and her. Okay, magic missile,
Yes.
D4 plus 1, fire away. Fire in the hole!
Oh.
For 4, okay, your ball of blue light hits the dog square in the side, kind of knocking it flying as it yelps loudly. Once again, runs up over here, getting away from the combat.
Great.
Let me make a check here.
I'm still yelling and stomping. I'm hoping. I don't know if it's helping, but that's what I'm doing.
Crazy elf right now.
We just
Okay,
look very crazy.
Radovan, you're fending one of these nasty little fellows off with your shield. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna try to attack with my Morning Star.
Okay,
Pretty
go
much.
right ahead. Swing away. D20 plus 2.
You should dual wield the morning.
Wow!
Look at 3 in a
Radovan! Radovan! Radovan!
What?
At
Guys.
it again for the kill.
Holy. That's not right, guys.
Nope, but that's okay.
I'll take it though. I don't like dogs. You
Damn
make me
it.
sleep.
Roll again, dude. Let's see if you can crit. Roll it again. See if you can
One
score a
D20
crit.
plus 2, right? Or just
D20 plus 2 to see. You just got to hit it a second time,
okay.
and
Alright.
that is enough to hit it. So yeah, roll your damage. D8 plus 2 times 2. Damn.
8 plus 2.
4, so 8. Okay, you basically, it snaps at the shield, you kind of push it away with the shield and then bring your Morning Star crashing straight down across its back. You broke the dog's back, it lets a loud
It's a ninja dog.
and it kind of wiggles a little bit and now it's deceased. God, you're violent, you're a horrible, horrible person.
Shame.
bastard killed.
Shiggles.
The bastard killed my dog.
Well,
Puppy! Okay, it is dead. 2 of them are wounded. 1 of them is injured. Okay, let's see. Let's check Fido's courage. Ooh, yes. All right, Fidos are pissed off now. This Fido is going straight at the first available target, which once again will be Resa. This Fido is making a play for Kia.
Okay.
And the big black Rottweiler-y looking Fido is basically going for the throat of the horse, unless somebody wants to deliberately position themselves in the way. Like as their action wants to like hurl themselves over there.
Not sacrificing myself for a horse.
Okay.
Yeah, for a horse, me either.
What about you, Radovan? Feeling brave?
You guys are heartless. I do. I get in the way.
All right.
This is our mode of transportation.
You have a shield. I'm wearing like cloth.
I got a dog on my back.
Look at my horse. My horse is amazing. Okay, so Radovan jumps in the way. Okay, so Radovan, the dog leaps through the air. This time, with it being airborne, it slides right across the top of your shield.
Oh, yeah.
As its gnashers come, and it sinks right down into the shoulder here. You feel the vice-like grip of this dog as it bites you. You take 3 points of damage.
No.
As you kind of like, and push it to the side.
Okay. Ow.
Okay, Tia.
Shoulder. Which shoulder? Is it my Morning Star shoulder or my shield shoulder?
It's your right shoulder.
Okay, so it's my Morning Star. It's my weapon.
Yeah. So you're like, you sling it to the side as it kind of falls off.
Ooh.
All right, Kia. The puppy dives at you. It kind of impacts against you, but it's kind of the business end of the dog, the teeth, don't quite get round to bite at you. It's more like just a thump as you kind of, it bounces off you. Racer, you are not quite so lucky. As the dog dives and grabs you by the thigh.
Ooh.
Also doing 3 points of damage. It's like, get it off! And you kind of like flick your leg and fling this thing off as it's like,
Sounded like me while snoring.
Okay, Racer, what do you want to do? The dog is like in front of you, curling its back, ready to come back at you again.
I would like to grab my short sword, because I can do more damage with that.
So you can draw it as a half action and you can swing your sword at it,
Absolutely.
Go ahead. That will be a d20 plus 1 for you. 9. Okay, you slash at it, but you're still kind of as you kind of lean forward to slash, you kind of put your weight on your injured leg, and the wince of the pain kind of makes you pull back, and you half flinch and you miss by just a fraction. Kia, what do you wish to do as this dog is attempting to tear your arm off?
I'm gonna try to whack at it with my quarterstaff.
Get back! Get back! Okay, thump. Go ahead. Straight d20 for you. You have no combat prowess whatsoever.
Wow!
Yes! Like a boss!
Yeah.
Pop, pow! Okay, roll it again. See if you can score a crit.
You can, and you will.
Oh.
Okay, no.
I'm not.
It's not a crit, but you still do your
not.
damage. D6. Roll 1d6 for your damage. This one has already been blasted. This one has actually been...
Sweet.
Oh, okay. So you basically like just smack the thing straight into the forehead. This is the one that had already been stabbed.
Okay.
And as you do so, it kind of hits the thing right in the eye. And you, instead of like for a moment, there's like resistance, and then the quarterstaff like pushes forward about another half an inch with it's kind of a squelch.
Okay.
Ordinary, thank you for the follow, man. And you have killed it. It is dead. You have murdered the puppy. You horrible people. You do understand this was nothing more than a hungry little pack of Fidos. And you're brutally killing them. All they wanted was the horse.
I plan to sleep in the back of the cart for more times, I don't want the horse to die.
Okay, Radovan, it's down to you. You and the black puppy it just took a huge chunk out of your shoulder.
Well, don't call him a puppy, and I'm going to attack him.
He's
Feel
a
less guilty.
Sweet, sweet, innocent little baby puppy. Okay, no crit by any means, but you do definitely hit it with your Morningstar. D8 plus 2, sir. You're Michael Vick.
Oh.
9. Okay. You catch the dog right aside the head and dislocate its lower jaw, in fact, fracturing its lower jaw. It winces and moves around. It kind of rolls around in pain and agony for a few seconds, and then it stops moving.
Oh, wow. We just killed a bunch of dogs.
Well, there's still the one that is savagely trying to tear
PETA
Race's
comes
leg
on.
off. Okay.
Help me!
Once again, it's okay. It again. This time, Racia managed to kick the thing off, but it comes back with a vengeance and grabs her by the lower ankle,
Oh my gosh.
Jesus.
doing another 2 points of damage. This thing is really.
No.
Her leg is starting to become a tattered, bloody mess. This damn thing. You better check for rabies in a minute as well.
I'll lose my fucking leg.
Okay, Racer, what do you want to do through the wincing pain of the dog bites in your thigh and your shin? One thing you will not do is ever become a mailman.
Yes.
A medieval mailman.
You have been cured of any desire to follow that career. That's for sure.
I think the only thing that I probably have the whereabouts to do is just hack and slash with my sword right now.
Yeah, that's probably exactly right. You're just like, damn it, get off! Hack, hack, violently swinging. Okay, swing away. D20 plus 1. Okay.
I'm gonna lose
the rolls.
It's
This
like
is not how we
it's like
roll.
you've lost
No.
all composure. You've lost all composure about what you're doing. Instead of fighting, you're more just like get it off, like swinging at the thing. Okay. Meanwhile, Kia, what do you wish to do? Do you wish to assist your friend in any way, or would you
I'm
rather
gonna
stand back
just
and laugh?
use one more magic missile because I know I won't miss, just so I can get this as fast as I
Okay.
can off of Reza.
Fire away. D4 plus 1. And you will need to sleep after that, because don't forget, you've got to have 8 hours of rest to regain your spell. So you'll have to get a good night's rest after this if you want to get
Right.
your stuff back. Okay, this is the one that you've already magic missiled once before. This time,
Yes.
the ball of blue magic lights the thing up like a Christmas tree. Like fire goes everywhere. It flies about 5 feet and comes to a stop over here, and it is now dead.
Yes, killed 2 dogs.
Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You have murdered the dog pound. Okay,
Stupid dogs.
and that brings us to the end of our session,
Oh.
guys.
Oh man,
Woo!
good job, guys. Good first session.